were not allowed to enter the precinct of Parliament. Yesterday, the minority came to Parliament in black. The leadership of the NPP were there. We saw Stephen Ntim, chairman of the NPP in Parliament. We saw Nana Boakye Henry in Parliament. He's the national organizer. We saw Justin Papanko, they are also there. All of them were there in Parliament yesterday. And the minority MPs were all clad in black, as you can see on your screen, with red bands, protesting the suspension of their three colleagues. There was also one on the majority side, and it's interesting the tone, or the shift in tone when they finally got to the floor of the House. You can see that security was beefed up yesterday, and only one entrance into the chamber was open, because the marshals wanted to make sure that every single MP that is entering the chamber has the permission of the speaker to enter, so that nobody is smuggled in, so that neither of these four MPs are smuggled in. So there was security, there was one entrance. You can see the MPs, entering the chamber, all clad in black. This is the minority side. Of course, the majority side were dressed normally because they had no protest to do. And the shift in tone is interesting because prior to the speaker yesterday deciding that he will lift the ban on the four MPs entering the chamber, or he will lift the suspension, the tone of the minority side was that of the speaker doesn't have the power to suspend the MPs, and according to the standing orders, the speaker doesn't have the power. According to the constitution, the speaker cannot suspend the MPs. He doesn't have the power, and all of that. Interviews were granted here and there, only for them to get into the chamber, and then we see the majority leader pleading. Yes, the majority leader pleading, and the minority leader also pleading with the speaker to temper justice with mercy. They were describing him as a headmaster and all of that, but eventually they decided to plead with the speaker. So the minority pleaded on behalf of their colleagues. The majority side added their voice through the majority leader, that is the Honorable Mahama Ayarga, and the speaker finally says that, okay, I have heard you. I will grant clemency. The four MPs can now enter the precinct of Parliament. They are not suspended anymore. So it's interesting how things have played out. It's very interesting. And it'll be interesting to see how the 7-member committee, which was put together by the speaker to investigate the chaos, also comes up with their investigations, their findings, and their recommendations, and what is going to follow through in the aftermath of that. So we still got that to deal with. They've got, I think, just about 3 weeks or so to do their work, and they've already started, and so we'll see how it will play out. Parliament has been pretty interesting these past couple of weeks, and it will be very interesting moving forward. It will be interesting to see how the minority does their things, especially considering that they have 88 members of Parliament. But we'll get into the details of some of these issues later on the show today when our guests join us in the studio. But for now, like we always love to begin the show with, let's look at our quote of the day. Helen Keller is whom we are quoting this morning on the show. And she says, never bend your head, always hold it high. Look at the world straight in the eye. And that's something, like I'll always say, to ponder on throughout the day. Never bend your head, never bow your head down and refuse to look at the world straight in the eye. Always hold your head up high. In every situation, hold your head up high and face the situation head on. Look at the world straight in the eye, and of course, tackle whatever it is that you need to tackle head on and make the progress. And at the end of the day, you're going to be happy that you did. That's our quote of the day. From our quote of the day, we zoom in straight into our word of the day. Learning a new word every morning is interesting. I love it, particularly because it improves my vocabulary. I'm pretty sure you love it too. Let's take a look at it.
Today's word, incognito, incognito. It's an adverb. If a person does something incognito, they do it without letting people know who they are. Let's exemplify it. The famous politician went to the stadium incognito to see the match. Incognito.
Incognito. Yeah, that's the word. That's the new word that we've learned today. And you know the circumstances, or should I say the contexts within which to use this word once you understand exactly what it means. Let's zoom in into our video of the day on this nice Wednesday morning. It's a beautiful brand new day. It's a beautiful brand new Wednesday morning, and we're excited to be coming your way from our studios here at Rage in Accra, the Platinum Places where we are. And this is GH Today. If you've just joined us, you're welcome to the show. My name is Lantam. We're moving all the way till it's 10 a.m. and we're excited about the show today because of all that we've got to talk about. Let's zoom in straight into Inside Out. So we now know that Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has been approved, and he is now the minister officially for foreign affairs. And so he'll take office, he'll start doing his work we all know how controversial his vetting was, and we all know the banter between him and the minority leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin, and what happened at the appointments committee. And even before he was vetted, we all saw the melee that ensued on Thursday, which degenerated into chaos, which led the speaker to take some action. Finally, he has been approved. Sam George as well. We all saw, the back and forth between him and the minority leader as well in the questions and the answers that were provided, trying to get him to apologize for comments made about the president, about the Chief Justice, and all of that. But now, all of these two ministers have been approved and they can start their work. And the chairman of the appointments committee has given the strongest of indications that moving forward, because the president will probably be nominating some people to occupy deputy ministerial posts. Perhaps there will be some judges who may be appointed, we don't know. But when the appointments committee is doing its work, the modalities are going to be different. He says that his leniency or his patience or his calm demeanor shouldn't be mistaken for weakness. And moving forward, the modalities are going to be strictly enforced. When they go into a meeting and they agree on the modalities for the vetting and they come to the appointments committee sittings, nothing is going to change and is not going to allow or countenance anything else. In fact, even people who follow a nominee to come and support the nominee while he's being vetted is cutting the figure down to 10, among other things. So it's interesting how all of that is playing out. But yesterday, some interesting things happened on the floor of Parliament. When the debate was going on with regard to whether or not these ministers, especially Sam George and Okudzeto Ablakwa, should be approved, we know that the minority leader said that he has washed his hands off. The minority is washing their hands off and they are staying away from participating in the vote to approve Sam George and Okudzeto Ablakwa. But when the debate was going on, something very interesting happened. The former minister responsible for lands and natural resources, the Honorable Samuel Abujinapo, got up to his feet and cautioned Sam George, his colleague in Parliament, that he should be careful. He should be careful of what he engages in when he's in Parliament, in terms of the media that he consumes when he was in Parliament. Why was Abujinapo saying this? Abujinapo was saying this because he believed that Sam George was sitting in Parliament watching pornography. Yes. And if we have the picture, we'll show it, right? We should have the picture. So there was a picture which was widely circulated on social media with Sam George sitting down holding his phone. And on the phone, what you could see on the phone was pornography, or a popular pornographic site on Sam George's phone. And the picture was depicting him watching this pornography. So Samuel Abujinapo, I don't know, printed, this picture or whatever it is, got up onto his feet and said that Sam George is an elder of the Perez Chapel. Sam George is an honorable member of the House. So Sam George should be mindful. He wants to be confirmed as a minister. And as a member of Parliament and an elder in the church, he should be mindful of what he watches when he's in Parliament. Because Sam George was on his phone watching pornography. Apparently, this picture of Sam George was a picture of him on his phone responding to some WhatsApp messages. And some people, we don't know who these people are, but some people took this picture, photoshopped a pornographic website onto the screen of the phone and started circulating it on social media. I believe that you've seen it. To create the impression that Honorable Sam George, Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Pram and Minister for Communications, is sitting in Parliament watching pornography. And I don't know whether it was a deliberate thing that Samuel Abujinapo did to bring this thing up on the floor of the House, or he didn't know and he fell victim to fake news. Because this is obviously photoshopped, this is obviously fake news, and a member of Parliament has fallen for this fake news and gotten up on his feet to make an argument or to make a statement on the floor of the House on the back of fake news. And I'm wondering, do our members of parliament not do due diligence on the things that they want to speak to before they actually get up on the floor of the house to speak to these things? Because it doesn't speak well of any member of parliament for you to be making arguments, calling out your colleagues based on news that is fake. And it will not be the first time that members of parliament have fallen victim to fake news before. We all saw the issues that brought Oliver Barker-Vormawor before the appointments committee, because he's purported to have made a certain post on social media. Apparently, the post didn't emanate from Oliver Barker-Vormawor, and there was another post which emanated from him. But the post that got a lot of attention, which got the appointments committee angry, and the chairman's attention was drawn to the post and all of that, it actually even turned out to be a post that Oliver Barker didn't even make. Why are parliamentarians falling victim and falling prey to fake news? So it raises questions. You see, this issue of fake news, I don't even understand the reason why there are individuals who deliberately go out of their way to fabricate stories that are not true and put it out there just to misinform and to deceive the public, to the extent that members of parliament are falling victim to it and are bringing it to the floor of the house to come and try and embarrass their colleagues, only to end up being embarrassed themselves because they were making statements on the floor of the house based on fake news. The fake news issue is very, very worrying. I mean, we here at GHOne TV have been victim to fake news before. You see our news cards around, and people take the templates of our news cards, right? The artworks that we do to provide the general public with information about what is happening, where or who has said what. They intentionally take it, they put their own quotes in there, deliberately attribute it to somebody to cause disaffection for the person and what have you. So we need to be very, very careful. And we here at GHOne TV always say that if you take a look at any news card, if you see any news card circulating and it's purported to come from GHOne TV, Star FM, the EIB network, and you see the news card, and you check our official Facebook page, it is not there. Our official Instagram handle, it is not there. Any of our other social media pages, YouTube, and it is not there. It is not coming from us. It is not coming from us. And there are many other media houses which are falling victim to it. And this is because there are politicians and people who belong to political parties who deliberately, and they are all over social media, they deliberately peddle falsehoods and misinformation to their political advantage. So you can see on your screen now the original picture of Sam George. This is the picture that was taken of Sam George. You can clearly see that and I don't even understand the reason why someone would want to take a picture of a member of parliament on his phone. Are you trying to spy on him to look on his phone to see what he's doing on his phone? Like, what is even the essence of this? And then somebody deliberately takes this picture and photoshops pornography onto the screen of the phone, circulates it that Sam George is watching pornography in parliament. Fake news. It's a very, very worrying trend. So the general public should be aware and should be very, very cautious of fake news, because there are people, especially politicians, who deliberately peddle these falsehoods to gain a certain political advantage, and then they circulate it on social media. So people who don't know better and people who cannot verify or not really verify will start circulate it, and then they believe it, even if people do their best to come back and rebut and flag it as fake news and say that it is not true. There are others who may not even have the benefits of knowing that it is fake news, and they run with it. And then it plays to the political advantage of the people who deliberately put it there, which is very, very bad. And I would want to ask the minister responsible for communication, Sam George. He himself has been a victim to this, because people have photoshopped this and saying that he's watching porn in parliament. Now that he's the minister for communications approved by parliament, the issue of fake news within the digital space, I think, is something that he should pick up. I think it's something that he should seriously look at, and the Ministry of Communications should seriously begin to take steps to sort of crack the whip and clamp down on people who, especially politicians, who deliberately peddle falsehoods. You go all over social media and then you see them there. They deliberately do this. Deliberately, there are people even on social media who deliberately put out bad, false stories to misinform and disinform the public. So I believe that the Ministry of Communications should pick this up. The Ghana Police Service, because it's the danger that fake news has the potential to cause. You have no idea. The danger. Because it has the potential of inciting people, of doing all manner of things, denting people's reputations, doing all manner of things. So the Ghana Police Service, they have a cyber unit. So I believe that they should also pick this up, right? And a serious campaign should be waged against fake news. And I think members of parliament, I mean, especially with all due respect to the member of parliament, Honorable Samuel Abujinapo, with all due respect to him, should do proper due diligence before they get up to make a statement on the floor of the House. Unless the Honorable former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources under the Akufo-Addo administration was intentionally and deliberately, trying to also play to the gallery and do this for political capital and political advantage, knowing very well that it is fake, but then deciding that he is going to make a statement, because these things are captured in the hands out of Parliament. So MPs should not fall victim and fall prey to fake news. You are an MP, for crying out loud, a member of Parliament, for crying out loud. Now you got up and you make this statement only for it to be found out that it is fake news. And you are an honorable MP against your own colleague. So this shouldn't be happening, and it should be condemned in no uncertain terms. And I'll say once again that as people who go onto social media and consume all kinds of content on social media, sometimes people even come and sit down and start saying things and making claims and making allegations and writing posts that are not true, and deliberately putting out misinformation and disinformation. So let us beware. Let us try to verify information from the appropriate sources. There are many credible media houses out there that you can verify this information from. And if information is purported to be coming from any media house, go to the official page or social media page of that media house and verify. Anyway, that's it for Inside Out. Right, time for court today. Murtala Inusa is in the studio. Captain Murtala Inusa.
Lantam, good morning.
The Arsenal fan.
The Manchester United. Yesterday I shared some information with you. Will you be kind enough to share with us?
It's still not going to make Arsenal win the league.
Would you be kind enough to share with us?
It's irrelevant information.
Yeah. But would you be kind enough to share? I
said it is irrelevant information.
But what is it about?
And it is fake news.
What is it?
I don't dabble in
this
see what fake news has done to Samuel. You see what fake news has done to Samuel Abujinapo?
This one is not fake news.
You see what fake news has done to Samuel Abujinapo?
I have seen it and I've heard it and I'm seeing what is happening. But what I shared with you is not fake news.
See, what you shared with me is not important.
It is not fake news.
Behind you. Right? So this is a post from Sam George, right? Sam George says that it is clear to me that the MPP is so hurt by my nomination as Minister for Communications and Digital Technology and Innovations and will stop at nothing. After failing to mobilize their own caucus in Parliament to vote against my nomination, they have resorted to a smear campaign and cheap lies with fake photos. I can assure them that the days of misinformation and cheap fabricated lies are coming to an end. the ministry would tighten regulations such as illegal conduct of misinformation and disinformation in the coming weeks and sanitize the media space. So help me God. So it's good that the Minister for Communications is deciding that he's going to take this up.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
I think that is
very serious.
That is
issue,
the way to go, right? Because what social media can do to you these days.
Yeah, and to think that MPs are falling for this and making official statements about this on the floor.
Who took that particular picture? That is the who took that particular picture and what would be the intentions of that particular person.
I'm also wondering about that because why would you take a picture of a minister on his phone, right, and publish it to the whole world for people to even see the messages? If you see this an invasion of his privacy.
Picture, see the haircut. That one is not in the picture that they sent. Now that's rather unfortunate if you are in a situation.
No, but why
like
would you even take a picture like this?
So
circulate it? We know, assuming that the pornography was not even photoshopped and put onto the phone. What would be the intention of you deliberately zooming in and taking a picture of the messages or the conversation that somebody is privately having on his smartphone? This is an invasion of somebody's privacy.
Yeah,
an invasion of somebody's privacy. So who took this picture? And look at the mischief that they decided that they were going to use.
So I read some lines in those who are the gods are not to blame.
Yeah,
have you read that book?
The
gods are not to blame.
Are not to blame.
It's a book that has a lot of sound. Yeah. So once you are innocent, and clearly it has been that the original picture has come up, and then we can just compare to what the mischievous minds are trying to put out there. This is rather unfortunate if things of this nature are happening. You wonder who next will suffer. Probably the person will be naked. I remember some time ago. In fact, this social media thing is doing, especially
people are doing all kinds of things. So
it's rather unfortunate. It's a tool that we can use to make so many gains, but at the same time we can use to destroy.
People are doing all kinds of things on social media. Even the lives that people are portraying on social media.
Oh, a lot of them.
You see somebody on social media, the person looks so beautiful, so nice.
The filter and all of that.
Like they are chilling. They are having the time of their life.
Don't fall for it.
Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. If you see Banini on social media, he's driving Lamborghini.
Try and meet him in person.
Holding the key and all. It's fake. It's fake.
Try and meet Banini in person, and you know that
it's fake.
You see that
his hair doesn't have Lamborghini.
That's his haircut.
Banini used to have a Range Rover Air.
Have you seen Banini's?
You know where the Range Rover?
Have you seen Banini's hairdo or hairstyle?
I've seen his hairstyle.
Have you seen it? How would you describe it?
No comment.
You leave it there.
No comment. But anyway,
you want to still run away from what I asked you earlier.
What? Banini with his hairstyle, which he doesn't want anybody to talk about, decided that he was going to play the montage for us to do court today.
So let's finish court today. We'll come back to you.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, we'll come back to you. We are not done with him.
We are not done with him at all. So let's get into the details.
Yes.
Of course, today. So yesterday, Nana Appiah-Mensah was expected to be in court, right?
Yes.
What happened?
Yes, and rightly so, he was in court. Yes. So when the case was called, the state representative Watkins Adama, senior state attorney, indicated to the court that it was adjourned to today for them to apprise the court on what has happened at the Court of Appeal in relation to some matters that GHOne and his lawyers had an intention to appeal against the order for him to open his defense to the charges, and also a stay of proceedings that he is asked. It's filed at the Court of Appeal, urging the High Court to stay each proceeding until such time that his appeal is dealt with. The information laid to the court was to the effect that so far prosecution has not received any correspondences yet from the Court of Appeal vis-a-vis asking them to file their processes for the appeal to be heard. It was at that point that Justice N.S. Usudapa, Justice of the Court of Appeal, did not take it lightly with the prosecution, in that the court was of the view that prosecution had all the resources at its disposal to ensure that whatever case was at the Court of Appeal, it is heard in earnest. It was dealt with expeditiously. And for prosecution to come to court and say that they don't have any notice yet from the Court of Appeal and it has not been listed, they've not been asked to file their processing and all that, the court said what stops prosecution from going to the Court of Appeal to check on the proceedings and the processes there, to put some kind of pressure on the clerks or the clerks there, the registry there, to make sure that the case is listed for hearing. This is what the court thinks, that the prosecution is at fault here. The court is blaming prosecution for that delay in the whole matter, especially the last of it was first somewhere around the 13th, 17th of December, there about almost over a month. The court had issues with that. So the court clearly indicates that, look, I am giving you a last adjournment to be able to put your house in order and ensure that the appeal is heard and the case back to court for the court to deal with. When the accused person is found guilty, the sanctions and the laws will be applied. If the accused person's innocence is affirmed, note that he's actually pleaded not guilty. So as we speak, even though he's been charged as innocent as anybody else on the streets of Accra or Ghana, and so if his innocence is affirmed, then accordingly he will be acquitted and discharged law. So yesterday, justice and so some of the men's goods customers after one of the sessions, that is #1 in your short there, leaving the court at one of the courts, sitting together with his team and all of that. So this case, the court has adjourned to the 25th of February. And by the 25th of February, the court is expecting that the needful will be done. The court wants to see some concrete steps taken in relation to that. So yesterday, #1 was in court, but the case had to be adjourned. And I told you about his lawyer, where he asked the court for some time to engage or scout new lawyers.
Yes.
It turned out that, yes, he doesn't have new lawyers. His old lawyers, led by the lawyer Kwame Buafo, are the same people in it. But yesterday it was Audrey Chum who represented Kwame Buafo, who was holding brief for lawyer Kwame Buafo Ekufo. So the case will come back again on the 25th of February.
All right. So yesterday, the Saglemi affordable housing case was also called in court. We understand that the AG is yet to decide on Alhaji Collins Dowd and 3 address whether or not they are going to pursue the case or not.
Yes.
What happened in court here?
So it was one of the cases that we told you that politically it has some political interest in all of that. And so Alhaji Collins Dowda, Kweku Ajman Mensah, Alhaji Ziblim Yakubu, former chief director of the ministry, and then Albert Klokanas is now deceased, so he's no more part of what is happening in court, and not Nuve Tete Angelo, also a businessman. They were in court, so that is Kweku Ajman Mensah on your screen a short while ago. Yesterday they were in court, but Alhaji Collins Dowda yesterday missed the court section. We were told that this case initially is heard in the afternoon, but it was called around 11. So his intention, he also had the intention that it was in the afternoon, but his lawyers indicated to the court that he was on his way coming at the time that the case was called, so they have to bring that to their attention. Hilda Craig, the principal state attorney, indicated to the court that, look, they've had instruction from her superiors to ask for 2 weeks adjournment, and within the 2 weeks adjournment they are able to inform the court about the next step or what is to be done in relation to that. The third prosecution witness was expected in court to continue with her cross-examination. Lucy Tete Akwete was expected in court for further for testimony, I might say, because she is still giving evidence in relation to that. But once that was happening, and in fact, prosecution was asking for 2 weeks, and the defense lawyers looked at the situation and said, look, my lord, if we look at what the prosecution had just told the court, we think that prosecution would need more than 2 weeks to be able to come and inform the court about whether they want to continue with the case. So they feel that even though prosecution was requesting for 2 weeks, they think that the court should give maximum or more than 2 weeks for them to come, so that by that time they are certain they are able to put their house in order and inform the court about what they want to do. Justice Ernesto Usudapa looked at the situation and said, prosecution, what exactly do you want to do in relation to this case, especially within the 2 week period that you are asking? Is it the case that you want to drop the case in and all of that? And then Miss Hilda Creek maintains that per her instructions, she was to ask for 2 weeks for the AG to have further review of the case docket and then come up with an advice. But for them, it is 2 weeks that they are asking. But if the defense know more than they do know, and they are asking for more, for her instructions were that he should ask for 2 weeks. And that's Alhaji Colin Utada in your screen there, one of the court sitting together with Nohela Seidu and then Gideon Abuchi on your screen also there. And so the case yesterday had to be adjourned for 3 weeks, even though prosecution requested for 2 weeks. Justice Ernest Owusu-Dappah adjourned the case to again February 26th. The same court handling the NAM1 case and the same court dealing with the Sagleme case. So February 25, they are back in court, and it is expected that by that day, prosecution will now be firm. The new Attorney General will now be firm in his mind as to what to do with this vehicle, whether to truncate it, whether to drop the charges, or whether to file a nolle prosequa, or whether to continue with the trial. So that's one of the things that we were told yesterday in court. So the Sagleme will come up again on 25th of February.
All right. So that's with Sagleme, right?
Absolutely.
So Gideon Abuchi.
Yes.
What's it called?
It's one of the defense lawyers. Yes. So yesterday he was holding. Speaking, right? Yes. Yesterday he was holding brief for Eduji Tamaklo.
Okay.
Yes. Let's hear him moment after the court sit.
Says that it is their case. It is the state that is prosecuting, and if they have come to court to ask for adjournment, we don't have any objection to that. In her explanation to the court, you realize that she stated that her superiors have asked to study the docket properly before any update is given to the court going forward. We don't know the decision they'll take, but we are hopeful that whatever decision they will take will be in the best interest of justice. As she said, she herself couldn't tell what decision would be made. You realize that the judge tried to find out why, but she couldn't really tell. So we are waiting. Whatever decision is taken, we have been involved in this case for some time now, and whatever decision is taken, we are ready to proceed or otherwise with the case, depending on the decision. So I cannot tell that today will be.
So
that is
Gideon Abuchi, right?
Yes. Yesterday he was representing Eduji Tamaklo, who's holding brief for Eduji Tamaklo, one of the defense lawyers, reacting to prosecution's indication that they want 2 weeks. I was asking him earlier whether that 2 weeks, the next agenda probably will be the last, that he anticipates that it will be the very last court sitting, and he's saying that look, when we reach there, or we'll get to the bridge, we'll cross. So that is in relation to the Sagleme affordable housing case that came up yesterday in court.
All right, so let's talk about some of the cases we're expecting today. A lot of people are interested in the James Quayson trial, and especially what the AG may or may not do with regard to this particular case. But it's expected to go on today, right?
Absolutely. James Quayson, member of Parliament for Assin North, is expected in court today with his lawyers led by the Venerable Chachu Chikata. And the indication from the prosecution is that they filed an application. So I'm using the application and motion here interchangeably. And that's I told you the day before yesterday that we do not know the nature of the application that has been filed. But if prosecution is filing an application in this situation, probably it could be related to what is happening in some of the cases, all of that, the political cases that are happening in court. And this is one of the cases that the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, indicated clearly that James Quayson ought not to be in court. And the case will be moved. The day before the case was adjourned to today, they were in court, met the judge in chamber. Initially, it was adjourned to the 12th of February, but they had some engagement with the judge after the case was adjourned, and then after, they had to abridge the time and bring it forward to today. So today, we'll know more about the kind of motion that prosecution led by AC Yanka in relation to what is happening currently will be, whether they are dropping the charges, whether they are withdrawing the charges, whether they are filing a nolle prosequa and all of that. But prosecution had almost the other witness, the investigator, had been cross-examined by lawyers of James Jachikwisi, and per what happened in criminal trials, once the investigator comes up and he's done, it is almost 99% sure that prosecution had closed its case. They haven't made that indication clear to the court. That was what we were expecting, and that the last court sitting had to be adjourned because of a motion that the prosecution had filed. So today, before Justice Mary Mami Ikwe-Yensu, that case will come up and we'll know more about what's the nature of the application that the prosecution have before the court is, and what will be the outcome, and what the pleasure of the court will be by way of whether it will be granted or otherwise.
All right. So we'll see. We'll see what will happen in that case. And let's now talk about the Mpakadan train accident. What else is there about that case? We know, some people are serving their jail term, some people were fined, and all of that. So this different leg of the case, for those who don't know and thought that, this has come to an end, help them understand what is going on.
So those on your screen, those who were holding the papers and all of that, they are the accused person. There are 4 of them, and they have been led by the investigator out of the court and all of that. But what is there? The driver at the center of this one has been jailed and 6 months. And Lantam, he served his sentence. He's done serving his sentence. But these 4 that you see on your screen are accomplices. They are those who were with the driver when the incident happened, were told that there were some blocks and other things. So these are people who were told that they are accomplices to the incident. They abetted the whole incident and all of that. So it is only fair that they are arraigned in court and then they are dealt with. They pleaded not guilty to the charges that have been preferred against them, and they have been granted bail. But 2 of them have been able to meet their bail condition. 2 haven't been able to meet their bail condition, for which reason they have been committed to be in prison's custody. Today, at the last court sitting, the parties indicated to the court that the case, which was initially being heard by Justice Lydia Osema and following his elevation, the trial had not started yet. So the new judge that has been assigned to the Criminal Court 5, Justice Kizita, now called Wakwashi, is taking over. And at the last sitting, the lawyers and the prosecution indicated that they want the court to adopt the previous proceeding, things that took place in Justice Lydia Osema's court. They want to adopt it so that they'll continue from there. The two of the accused person now came in with lawyers, and the lawyers said that we will need time to be able to peruse and look at where the previous proceeding has got into. Then we can appropriately advise our client on what to do and all of that. So the case was adjourned to today. So today, the court will give further direction as to what should be done, whether case management conference should be conducted, and specific firm dates for the trial to commence and all of that. So the Mpakadan train accident, even though the driver at the center has been convicted, sentenced, and he's done serving his 6-month sentence, there are 4 others who are said to be accomplices who are betting the whole incident. They are still before the High Court, and today the High Court will have some words to give in relation to what should be done in their trial. Some of them have been, in fact, all of them have been granted bail, like I said earlier, but 2 of them have not been able to meet their bail conditions. So they'll be coming from the prison's custody. All
right, and finally, the gentleman who is he? Do we describe him as a gentleman? Okay, the man who allegedly robbed the former second lady, together with some others. They are expected back in court today.
So per the fact sheet that was, in fact, the charge sheet that was put before the court and the charges and what was contained in the fact sheet indicate that he's a self-styled businessman. Yahuza Usman is the one that you're talking about here. And what has happened in relation to that is that the last court sitting, he wanted the court to release some vehicles at the center of this whole matter. That the court is saying that, look, these are issues in contention. These are matters you've been charged for dishonestly receiving some stolen vehicles and all of that. And he wanted to release these vehicles to you. It won't happen. So the court dismissed his request for certain items to be released to him. And the case has been adjourned to today. And in today, what we expect to happen is to the effect that there will be case management conference and the court will fix firm date for the trial to begin, and by way of prosecution calling their first witness to come to court and give us what will happen. So that case is also coming out, a case involving the former second lady, Matilda Yaba Emisa Arthur, who is allegedly was robbed, attacked in the process, and Yahuza Usmano is the one that has been held for that particular incident. So that case will also come up today before Justice Kizita Nakowa Kwashe, the Criminal Court 5.
All right. Very well. Very well. So these are the cases coming
Absolutely.
up.
These are the cases that will come up in court.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lantam. But
As always.
Jones
is in the studio.
Jones is here.
Yeah.
Jones.
Yeah. I have a message from Banini. He said that he got 4 girls with his hair. Yeah.
That's what he's proud
Yeah,
of.
so please, the hair is.
So that is what he's proud of.
It's a nice one.
I'm not sure.
No,
Hold on. I'm not sure that
is what he's
The
proud
girls
of.
are coming.
I'm not sure
The hair is
that.
attracting.
Because of his hair.
They are, yes,
got 4
it's
girls.
like magnet. The hair is
And
like
he
magnet.
proudly told you.
That the hair is like magnet.
He proudly told you. He was proud of it.
The hair is like magnet. So
Told
it's a
you.
nice one. So probably
To come and tell me
that probably
that
maybe
because of his hair, he's getting girls.
they are attracted to the hair.
Okay.
I'm not holding brief for Banini, but I'm not
Banini,
sure Banini
continue.
said that. I'm not sure Banini said
Continue.
that.
You are not sure.
I'm not sure Banini.
You don't have
said
evidence. So
that. I'm not
please,
sure.
please.
You are not showing us
Continue.
any evidence either.
I'm the one telling you.
No, you are not showing us any
That's what you
evidence.
are telling me about Dini.
Yeah.
You do you remember Terrible Chaka? Do you remember Terrible Chaka?
Yeah.
Remember Terrible Chaka? Afro
Le,
hair,
yeah.
comb in his hair, you know, bell bottom trousers.
They'll raise the leg when
He has a certain song.
Yeah.
What is the song?
He has a certain song.
What is the song?
I'm requesting that song for my He has a certain song.
Well, now
Do you know that song?
Now that
Have you heard the song before?
what?
No, remind that.
Do you know that song?
No.
You don't know
Yeah,
that song?
I know about
I'll
that
not
song.
continue the
I
rest.
know about that
I'll just
song.
sing the first line. The first line is
No, we want to hear that line. That's what we want to hear.
Yo, if you know, you know.
You know, Arsenal closer.
You know.
But
Arsenal
why
trophy.
has Banini decided to put 2 Manchester United from in May aside? I don't understand.
Well,
It is not Banini who decided to put
So-
anybody
so-
somewhere.
yeah,
Jones
yeah.
is here for
Yesterday,
sports.
Jones,
is
aren't
here
you a
for
Manchester
sports.
United fan?
no. I support.
Aye.
I support home stars in who.
Hey, Jones.
Jones,
Wait,
you are running away from your
wait.
club.
I'm not running away.
Are you not a
I'm
Manchester
a United fan. Yeah.
Hey,
Jones. What is the meaning of that?
But then I'm not even here as a Manchester United fan. I'm not
no.
even here.
That
I'm not
one
even here as a Manchester United fan.
It is established. You are not here as a United. You are here as a sports
Yes,
person,
yes.
isn't it? To give us
What were
sports.
you trying to deny our
No.
Now you see.
Never.
You see what I have been saying all of that.
The point is that I'm not here as a Manchester United fan.
No, that's
I'm
not the
here to
point.
present-
That's not the point.
I'm a United fan.
That's not the point. You are running away.
I'm not running away. I'm not
United
running
because
away.
you know why. It is one thing Lantam has been fighting all day, but he's not succeeding. I sent him some information last night.
Yeah.
I want him to read. Lantam, go to
You
your
can't tell
phone.
what
You know the
You
funny
can't tell
thing.
what to do.
No, I'm not telling you what to
You
do.
can't tell what to do. You can't tell what to do.
The only chance at a trophy. You know, I actually predicted that Arsenal were going to win the Premier League when we started the league.
Why
in
did you
August.
not predict that your Manchester United will win the Premier League? You are
I mean,
projecting
you know,
us.
I would always use the facts. Yes.
So the fact is saying
Yes.
that
You
Arsenal
guys
is closer.
should- yes.
Arsenal could win the league.
That is
what
fine.
about Manchester?
But
What are
wait,
the facts
wait.
saying? You are
It
the
doesn't. It
sports
doesn't mean that
person. I
United
want
will go
no.
trophyless. It doesn't mean that United will go trophyless. It doesn't mean that United will.
So
not
the
win
EPL. Let's start from the EPL.
Yes.
Where are United now?
Manchester United are not close.
Where
to
are
the-
they now?
I
I
can't
want
tell
our
you.
viewers to know.
I can't tell you.
Lantam, I share some information. Could you be kind enough to share with our viewers?
But you
They
know
will
what?
have
You
them.
know what? You know what? That the good news and bad news for Arsenal is that they are close to getting to a final.
What about United?
Wait, the EFL Cup final. It is the semi-final is today. The first leg was played on the 7th of January.
We lost.
Wait, why
lost?
the champion ahead
No,
of
why you are going after
They
that?
played a certain Newcastle.
Murtala is fond of not allowing people to talk when they ask her because you know that it will not go in
It's
his
not going-
favor.
wait.
Keep quiet. When people are talking, learn to keep quiet. for
And
them to keep
Lantam,
quiet.
you know what? They lost 2-0. And then after the game, Arteta said that the ball, he blamed the ball.
He blamed the ball.
He said the ball was not like the one they used in the Premier
Why
League.
is the ball Jabulani?
And
Is it Jabulani? They Jabulani.
And you know what? The next game they played was against Manchester United in the FA Cup. And then when United won, a United player tweeted that this ball rolls very well.
Yeah.
So we don't know if tonight the ball will be changed for Arsenal to play. Don't forget, they lost at home 2-0 to Newcastle. So today, that's the only chance to get to the trophy because if it's a semi-final,
Wait,
if they win
wait,
today's
wait.
game.
That is not. No, he said something. We need to. I am objecting. I'm raising objection.
Overruled.
Let me
Just continue.
If they win today's game, then they might win by 1-0 and still not qualify because they lost 2-0 at home. So if they win, probably would have to win 3-2, and then they will
I know Newcastle is on some good form.
Yes. So that is why your word comes in.
Jones.
You see,
Jones.
Arsenal fans
Jones.
know very well
Jones.
Yeah.
that the
Jones.
pedigree of their team
Yeah.
is that they will be in top 4,
Yeah,
top 5,
they will
top
do.
6,
Yeah.
and play Champions League.
You are talking
But
about-
to the silverware.
You are talking
lifting the
about,
EPL
when they
trophy,
get there,
Champions League
when they
trophy,
get there.
the
You
are talking
EFL
about
trophy.
an
The
Arsenal
best they
team.
can do is Community Shield, and they
He's
know.
talking
So
about an
because of
Arsenal team that
they are
walloped
always
Manchester City by 5-1, and it is not true that we cannot score.
No.
He's saying that is the only chance that we have. We are playing in the Champions League. We had one of the 8 clubs that qualify from the 36. Was it 36?
Wait.
Where is Manchester United? That aside, we are playing in the EPL. We are second on the table. Where is Manchester United? 13. That is the information I shared with him. He should provide to us. He's not saying. They said Rashford is a problem. They sold him to what do you call it? Aston Villa.
Yeah.
They said what do you call it? That I'm wondering whether he's a Brazilian.
Yeah,
though.
he is.
Anthony.
He is.
Is
Yeah.
Anthony a Brazilian?
Yeah.
I doubt, because Brazilians don't play football like that. United spend their lifetime savings. Bought Anthony, and the guy will come to the pitch, show my leg, and be doing like this. On the pitch, you'll be doing like this on the pitch. Those who watch football will tell you what has happened. Still 13. And when you are talking, they will cast Arsenal is suffering from the last time GHOne brought you trophy here, and that is the only trophy you can celebrate.
I have a message from GHOne to Lantam. Tell Lantam I'm going to bring a customized trophy and jerseys from England for him.
That is it. That is it.
But you know,
when Arsenal is talking, if the Carabao Cup you have mentioned, Arsenal is in contention. The league, Arsenal is in
so
contention.
you win.
The
you
Champions.
win tonight.
I'm telling you, the
you
Champions
win
League,
tonight.
Arsenal is in contention. Mention any of these that I've mentioned that United is involved.
United is in contention for the FA Cup, the Europa League, which will
We are
qualify.
talking about the Champions League. We are talking about Champions League. We are talking about Europa
You
League.
don't even allow me to land.
Jones, you know something.
You don't even allow me to
Jones,
land.
you know something.
Yeah.
Yes, you see, his phone is TV for him.
Let me
You can't blame my phone.
Jones,
You can't blame my phone.
relax,
Yeah.
relax for Mutala.
Yeah.
Allow them.
Yeah.
No,
At the end of
I
the
am
day, we don't know
speaking
who
from
will
back.
because it is normal. We see it every season.
Yeah.
It is good.
Every season they play
They get
Champions
close
League.
to it.
Every
is
season
good.
they play
It is
Champions
good
League.
that you
Every
you
season
have
they play.
played that.
You won the Champions
You
League
know
before.
that you
No,
are
no,
not part.
So
You know you won
allow
the
him,
Champions League before.
allow him. Let him bask in his.
I was speaking to a United
glory.
fan. What the United fan will say that
It's time for sports chat.
we are winning the league.
Jones,
Yeah.
let's get into the details
Right,
of the sports.
so
chat.
let's start off from Kumasi Asante Kotoko, obviously. Yesterday, they released a statement saying that they've suspended all football activities until justice is served for polling. So it means that even, thankfully, the GFA actually came out to say that March the 20 fixtures have been postponed, and then they would have to focus on the investigations. And yesterday, the man was arranged to cooperate. For me, the interesting thing out there is that one of the bodyguards of Honorable Ignatius Iwabafo is a policeman, Lantam. He's actually a policeman, and it is just sad to see that people who we want to protect us actually causing harm and are culprits in issues like this.
So we know the Honorable Ignatius
Yeah.
Bafu, former MP for Sunyane West
Yeah.
constituency and former Employment and Labor Relations Minister was arrested.
Yeah.
Together with some
Two other persons. Yeah.
yesterday. So they were arraigned. Right? We
Arraigned,
understand that
yes.
some bail was granted.
Yeah.
So investigations are still ongoing,
and
the court processes have begun.
Yeah. So
at the
actually,
end of the day-
the bill was granted for 2 persons, and then the police officer is still in there.
The police officer is still in custody
yeah.
because, of course, you'd expect that once he's a police officer, we'll hold him to a higher standard because you're supposed to be protecting life and property and de-escalating situations. You should not be seen as part of the problem.
It's bad. Okay, so let's still stay on Kotoko, and sad one. Former Kotoko coach Prince Achampong, we understand that, has passed on at the age of 52. So the coach was a former Asante Kotoko coach. He actually coached them in the year 2010 and 2011, and he was also the coach of King Faisal. So he died yesterday afternoon, and a sad one for the Kotoko family in there. Now let's move on to the foreign scene. And who is your good, Lantam? Who is the greatest footballer of all time?
Greatest footballer of all time.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, it is his birthday today.
Yes.
It is his birthday today. And we just have some of his top goals scored in his career. This was a goal he scored for Real Madrid. And look at this beautiful one when he also scored for Portugal there.
Yeah.
So he's 40 today and he keeps on going. He's still going, scoring brilliant goals and making a lot of money. And you know what? Let's accept the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo has brought the stars to the Saudi League. The latest one was John Duran, a young player, talented player, promising player who decided to move to the Saudi League. He actually plays for Al Nassr now. He played yesterday for Al Nassr, and he moved to Al Nassr because of money and Cristiano Ronaldo.
All because of the star power of the GOAT.
Yeah.
The greatest of all time. The most complete football player that we have ever seen.
We are waiting for the World Cup. The Messi fans will tell you that he should win a World Cup. But let's see.
Come on.
Maybe 2026.
Yeah, I look at the reason why Cristiano Ronaldo is my greatest of all time.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily because I want to take anything away from Lionel Messi or I hate Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
I believe that Lionel Messi is an incredible football player, right? Yeah. Arguably the best player in the world. You can argue that Lionel Messi is the best player in the world. He's the GOAT, and you will not be wrong, right? But I argue for Cristiano Ronaldo because I believe that Messi is naturally talented. You know, there are some people who are naturally gifted and naturally have a knack, for football and the skills of football and all of that. People like Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
Ronaldinho sometimes will not train and get onto the pitch and he'll be doing wonders because they are naturally gifted and naturally talented.
Yeah.
Lionel Messi is one of those people, right? But you see Cristiano Ronaldo deliberately honing his skills, right? Working at it.
Yeah.
Working on every aspect of his game, right? Putting in the hard work to be the best that he can be. And that is what I admire about him. He can jump, he can dribble, he can score,
he can shoot,
he can do everything. He can do basically everything on the pitch.
Score with both legs.
Yeah, score with the left, score with the right, score with his head, do the free kick, do everything, right? And he adapts his game. You remember the kind of football he used to play when he was at Manchester United? It's quite different from the kind of football when he got to Real Madrid. And even when he got to Juventus. And even now, he's always adapting his style of play to suit even his age, and to suit,
his playmates.
Yes, and all of that. And, you can't take it away from Cristiano Ronaldo. If you ask me, he's the greatest of all time.
That's the goal he scored against Barcelona in the El Clasico.
He doesn't have a World Cup. I don't care that he doesn't. I mean, so the World Cup is the only thing.
261 games and scored 923 goals.
Yeah.
Has 257 assists. 44 hat-tricks for Real Madrid, 10 hat-tricks for the Portuguese national team, 6 hat-tricks for Al Nassr, 3 for Juventus, and then 3 for Manchester United. So he has scored the most goals in football history, played the most games in football history as well. I mean, he's there.
And at 40, he's still going strong.
Yeah, he's still going strong.
And the
congratulations to him.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, guess whose birthday it is today too?
Whose birthday?
The injury man.
Which injury man?
Neymar.
Oh, it's Neymar's birthday. His birthday. Man, Cristiano Ronaldo shares
the same birthday.
That is news to me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it is Neymar's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday to Neymar.
And so Arsenal take on Newcastle today in the EFL Cup, second leg. First leg ended, as we said earlier, 2-0. And we hope to see if there will be a comeback. So that game is at 8 p.m. Arsenal taking on Newcastle. Arsenal down 2 goals already. I mean, from the first leg. And tomorrow we'll see Tottenham Hotspurs take on Liverpool. Spurs are also a side who really want to get a trophy.
Yeah, but Liverpool is taking this one for me.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Liverpool is taking
and let's end with Formula One. Guess what? Audi, you know, the car brand Audi.
Yes.
They're set to join Formula One in 2026.
Oh, wow.
As their takeover of Sauber has been confirmed. So they are going to take over. We're going to see Audi in Formula One come 2026.
It will be interesting to see how Audi performs, you know, because Formula One has been dominated by Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari. These are the names that have been dominating, and then Red Bull.
Red Bull.
So it'll be interesting to see, you know, McLaren, or should I say Audi
coming here
and
so
see the performance of their vehicles, the performance of their Formula
One. So it's actually a takeover. They are taking over of Subaru. The car brand.
But of course they will bring, you know, their technology and everything, because you know Formula One is always about, you know, the technology and how good the car is, and of course how the driver can also handle the car. It's a combination of both. A good car, a good driver, you know, that makes up Formula One. So
let's see how it goes there. So that should do it for the sports chat today. 8 p.m. Newcastle taking on Arsenal. The odds say Arsenal would win this game, probably by a goals margin. If they actually win by a goals margin, Newcastle will still qualify.
I'm praying that Arsenal loses or draws, so that tomorrow I'll come and
laugh at Mutala.
Yes, the Arsenal fans who are always making noise. But we know at the end of the day they will not go away with anything.
Well, Ateta says this is the current crop of. You know, he was asked about getting a striker, and he says this is what he has and this is what you have to work with. But everyone is like, we know you need a striker, so why wouldn't you go in for a striker? Let's see, maybe next season they'll get a striker.
Where is Gabriel Jesus?
Well, he's injured and not as effective even as Kai Havertz. So you see Kai Havertz gets a lot of goals, and then Gabriel Jesus would get you.
They should come for Mutala.
Mutala is a striker.
Captain. Why do you think we call him captain?
Captain.
Yeah.
Star player.
Strike for them. They should come and coach him.
Yeah. Thank you.
He's not old at all. His Mutala's football age is
76. Only 17.
No, 26.
You sure?
Yeah. That's his football age, 26.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Jones Ajit there, bringing us the latest in sports on the sports chat. Let's take a look now at today's papers. All right, so we begin from the Daily Graphic newspaper. Development Bank Ghana welcomes Dr. Randolph Nso Ambala as CEO. Education Ministry denies story, but the Graphic stands by report. So the Graphic had posted yesterday that training allowances for teachers and nurses were going to be cancelled. The Ministry of Education says that until further notice, they are maintaining the allowances. They are not scrapping the allowances. Speaker lifts suspension on 4 MPs, and Presbyterian Church eulogizes J.B. Dankwa. So that's it for the Ghanaian Times. Daily Dispatch, NDC MP breaks silence on on an MP squeezing his balls in Parliament's brawl. Into Ayariga, a Blackwest lavish lifestyle under scrutiny, and Bagbing lifts suspension of 4 MPs. So that's the custodian. Daily Statesman, Tanko Kwamiga sets record straight on false legal claims. Presby Church eulogizes J.B. Dankwa. Speaker Afenyo-Markin queries BOG government's premature office assumptions. 60 years on, Presby eulogizes J.B. Dankwa. And court sets aside illegal arrest warrants against Karen Babasam. So that is the publisher newspaper. Well, so that's it for the newspaper headlines. I will take a short break here. When we return, the breakfast review segment will be on. Stay tuned. television, and we're very excited this evening to be coming to you live from Parliament. We're coming to you live from Job 600, and currently we are in the office of the Minority Leader of Parliament. He's also the Member of Parliament for the Ofutu constituency, the Honorable Alexander Kwamina Afenyo-Markin. And tonight on State of Affairs, we're going to be engaging him on quite a number of issues which have become a matter of public discussion. Of course, issues with regard to the appointments committee sittings, issues with regard to the conduct of parliamentarians, among other things. And I'm pretty sure by the end of this interview, you'll get some unique perspectives from the Honorable Minority Leader on these issues, and of course other issues that may come up as regards the things we talk about in this conversation. But before we get into all of those issues, let me just remind you that you can get ready for a game changer if you're a small or medium scale enterprise. And we are introducing Yellow Biz. This is something which is being introduced from MTN, and you know that MTN is everywhere you go. And everything you need for a smarter business solution is given to you with MTN Yellow Biz. 4G router with 10 gigabytes free data, Microsoft Office 365, genuine Microsoft applications, WebWiz, a customized business website for your businesses, Unicom services, a unified business communication solution for your virtual call center, IVR and conferencing needs. You just name it. All of this is being given to you through MTN Yellow Biz. And it's all for a very good deal that you definitely do not want to miss. So with MTN Yellow Biz, your business will gain access to all of these advanced productivity tools, and you're able to do business and grow your business and be very, very successful. So all you need to do is stay ahead of the competition by dialing 100, or you can call 0244-308-111, or email us at mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com, or visit mtn.gh/business, or just go to any MTN office and ask for MTN Yellow Biz. And of course, do know that terms and conditions apply, and MTN is everywhere you go. We'll get straight into our conversation, ladies and gentlemen. My guest this evening, in fact, he's playing host to us here on State of Affairs, the Honorable Minority Leader Alexander Kwamina Afenyo-Markin. Leader, good evening.
Good evening. Happy to see you.
Happy to see you too. Thank you. Thank you for hosting us this evening in your beautiful office.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, and I saw a video of you on social media. You were wearing boxing gloves. You were in a gym, hitting a punching bag and all of that. People were wondering whether you were doing that because you were getting ready to face the minority in the boxing arena of Parliament.
Well, as for social media, it can always activate its own stories and create some new fun. But that is the beauty of it. I think it's an old video somewhere, I'm sure, November, December.
Right.
When I was at the gym in Winneba. Yeah, it's not a new thing, but I'm sure it's for the excitement of it. So people are having fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, people are having fun. Is this something you do often?
I try to exercise. On a normal day, I will go golfing. The mornings, sometimes I have to keep fit. When I go to Winneba and I have to get to the gym, yes. But sometimes one is so lazy, and waking up is another hell of work, But when you exercise, you feel good. And once you get addicted to it, you enjoy it and you feel that the body is strong. Meanwhile, sometimes we get so lazy that we don't want to exercise. So I'll keep at it. It's good to exercise. I'll encourage all of us to exercise.
And what was the last time you did it?
Can I be truthful to myself? I think after December, I've been that lazy. The whole of January, I've not exercised. I've not done any gym. I've spent time rather doing a lot of prayers, spending time at the meditation center, spending time with my priests, over there. We do our morning mass sometime in the evening, getting closer to God in prayer, because this job we're doing, you are the arrowhead, you are the main person, the focal person, leader of the opposition. It's not an easy job to do. NDC as a party can be a good bully on a good day.
Are they bullying you?
Oh, they like to bully, but we always fix it and do pound for pound. You know, they like to bully. When you hit them small, then they'll be crying all over the place. You know, look at the recent Sam George Ablakwa place. You know, Ablakwa has been hitting us all these years. A little question: where do you live? You can't answer. Are you an owner of your own property? The man cannot answer. He says he's a tenant. We are here to see his tenancy agreement.
Now, have you seen his latest post on social media?
Oh,
I mean, he posted on X. He's saying he's ready for a second vetting if you'd have him, and you had the opportunity to ask him all of these questions. He's blemish free, and you are just trying to,
listen.
just trying to make it look as though he's not clean.
No. The law is clear. He who comes to equity must do equity. He who comes to equity must do equity. He is out there attacking people. They've been flying drones over my properties in Winneba, in Abelempe. They've gone to places searching for people's properties. They've been going over attacking people. A simple question is unable to answer. His proteges are all over on attack on a simple question. But you know, I'm doing my job. I will continue to do what I'm supposed to do. Minority leaders have never had life easy. GHOne came under attack. Those days we were students. We're always reading in the papers. GHOne here, GHOne there. Abang Bagbin came under heavy attack. Oseche Mensah Bonsu, in and out of parliament. Harun Idrisu, Atufosin. So the job of the minority leader is to hold the feet of government to the fire. In so doing, you will step on toes. In so doing, people will try to undermine you, attack you. But you have to remain strong, steadfast, and focused. When I took up this job, I knew what I was signing in for. I've been a leader of government business. Proud to that, I was deputy leader. I studied the NDC and its posture. I know their political psychology, at least a bit. I think we can handle affairs. God be our guide. They like to put bitter pills on the tongue of their opponent, but they cannot even take a bit of that bitter pill. All right? They've been complaining about vetting. You know, they always act in bad faith. Look at this whole vetting process. A lot of their people, I don't even vet them. All the original ministers, I never even sat in to ask them a question. Some of their key nominees, I sit in my office here and I watch. Because minority leader, you should not be all over the place.
But they say you're all over the place.
They
say you are seeking attention.
No, listen.
And you are trying to be recognized because you are leading few numbers in parliament, 88 members of parliament, and so you know your numbers are insignificant, and so you have to be this way.
We are a happy, mighty few. We are a happy, mighty few.
What does that mean?
What it means is that we are formidable. You cannot take us for granted. We will raise the issues. For instance, this evening, I have information for you. Mr. President issued a letter to the public through his spokesperson, who is also a member of parliament, announcing that someone has been nominated to be a governor of the central bank pending the confirmation of the Council of States, because the Constitution provides that there must be some consultation.
Yeah.
Does that mean that the man goes to take office immediately? No, these are serious constitutional matters that, as a leader, I cannot shut my eyes on. This is a serious constitutional blunder. If President issues a letter, he says that I am nominating. He didn't say he has appointed. He says he's nominated the person pending the Council of States confirmation. The Constitution provides that the central bank governor will necessarily have to go through the Council of State. There are other nominations that you would have to go through the Council of State before you are eventually appointed. Why would the man go to office today with media that he is a central bank governor? He's not a governor. We don't even have the Council of State. If the governor is retiring, there are two deputy governors. You see, we are dealing with governance here, and the central bank is a major institution of state we must not toy with. There are two deputies. One can act because that person would have gone through the Council of State confirmation process before the eventual appointment. You don't just walk into the office and say that you are a governor. No, that's not how it is done. So this is a matter that we'll take it up as minority.
What do you intend to do about that?
We'll take it up. I've just drawn your attention to it.
Take it up how? Are you going to court? Are you going to do a press conference? What are you going to do?
No, we'll take it up. I've just teased it out. Maybe those at the presidency may have to look at the letter again, the communication from the presidency again, and ask lawyers whether when you nominate somebody and that nomination will require Council of State consultation or advice, can the person walk straight to the office? Example is Supreme Court nominations. The president would have to, in consultation with Council of State, after the Judicial Council has advised, Council of State would have to come in before parliamentary approval. Can we say that the person should go and sit at the bench pending parliamentary approval? No.
So the Bank of Ghana governor had no business at the Bank of Ghana today, or the nominee.
He's a nominee. He has to wait for a Council of State to be in place, to be sworn in. The consultation process must commence, completed, then he's properly sworn in. He cannot walk in there.
Can he not familiarize himself, with what has been happening, at the central bank?
No, that's not the way it is done. It's not like a chief executive appointment where it's the president can appoint somebody to act. That's different. This one requires Council of State involvement.
So it's something that you take up, like you mentioned, as a minority.
We will not sleep over it. This is a major issue. We'll take it up.
Are you under pressure as minority leader?
No.
Are you under pressure from your party or from any quarters?
The MPP is a party of equals. You must take the input of your colleagues. Of course, it is the party that has put you there. The party has its principles, and you have to engage the party and find a way out of every situation. So you cannot call it pressure in that context. However, you would have to be prepared to do what is expected of you, because this is not a job that you can be lazy and do. It's a serious work. You are in the British politics, they will call it a government in waiting. Okay, we are the second largest, party. Because NDC winning majority of seats, we come second. There's no other third force. So much is expected of us to demonstrate readiness to govern. And to do so, you must be ready to look at all issues. You can't sleep with your eyes closed. Okay, you must sleep with your eyes open, to be awake, to point out the loopholes in governance.
So there's no pressure coming from anywhere.
You are doing the watchdog thing. All right, you can call it pressure, you can call it anything, but it is work.
The chairman of the appointments committee says you told him that you're under pressure, especially with regard to the issues surrounding vetting of Kwabena Mintah Kando and what degenerated into the chaos that we saw. I mean, he says you told him that you're under pressure from your party, and he even went on to suggest that you are acting out of frustration from your electoral defeat. That is why you are being disruptive of the appointments committee sittings and all of that.
Ahiafo is a brother. He's a respected colleague. If he makes a political statement, I don't need to respond. So let's allow that to slide.
You insist you are not under any.
I'm saying that
any pressure.
When he makes a political statement, I should let it slide. Let's move on. If there's some other thing we can discuss.
But the issues that came up.
But he says he's not under pressure, right?
Well, I've not heard him say he's under pressure.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's leave it there.
But do you think Ahiafo is under pressure? Do you see that he's under pressure?
I don't know what is happening in his party. I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. But can't tell what is there.
But what do you make of how he has conducted himself as chairman?
I respect him.
Chairman of the committee. There have been all of these comments that he's too laid back, maybe too weak, allowing you to have a field day, and all of those comments.
Bernard is a great guy. I respect him. I think he's done so well. He's controlled affairs. He's a gentleman. He would want to do things the right way. We've had a good working relationship. I don't really mind if he is using the media space to say things about me. That's okay. That's his view about me. But for me, I see him as a positive guy.
I mean, that is towards, addressing or speaking to some of the issues that led to the chaos, that we saw ensue last Thursday during the appointments committee sittings, issues that you were not happy with.
Yeah, I mean, we
even went on to suggest that you may have even instigated some of the members of parliament to engage in some of the things that we saw them engaging in.
Oh, well, I am the leader of our side, and my side would only act on my orders. So he doesn't need to say I've instigated. I am responsible. He doesn't need to make an allegation. There's no need to allege on this. I am the leader, and if my men go on any path, I take responsibility, and I'm responsible. The NDC side mistreated us, they disrespected us. There was no means of engaging them. They acted in bad faith. We agreed in the morning to do 3. Later in the afternoon, they brought one more name for us to do 4. Eventually, they said we should do 5. Upon completing the 5th nominee, we saw many nominees parading on the corridors of the vetting hall. We asked, what about these? Then one of them told us that we are going to vet all of them. We are the majority. We told them, why?
Who was that? Who made that statement?
If I want to mention a name, I will mention a name. Leave it to me. We tried to talk to him. He, Bernard, did not support what his other colleague was doing. Okay? And we asked for a few minutes to discuss. After all, we've been cooperating since day one. In fact, I was the one who moved an application under Order 3 of our rules book to enable the president's nominees go through the process, just for the avoidance of doubt. Order 3 provides suspension of standing orders, subject to the provisions of the Constitution. A motion for the suspension of an order or part of an order may be moved without notice with the leave of the House. Go and check Hansel. I moved this motion. Why did I do that? I did that because I wanted governance to be smooth for them. This was moved because Mr. Speaker was going to be out of the jurisdiction. Parliament was going to have a break for orientation, and Mr. Speaker had read the first list of nominees. Only 3: finance, energy, and
Attorney General.
No, not Attorney General and Minister of Justice. And we were told that some more will be coming. So the understanding was that if we waive this for them, then there will be no requirement for Mr. Speaker to read, because Parliament will not be sitting. So we could continue. This is the first time in our republic that a government is being formed in the shortest possible time. Go and check the records. In all appointments made since 1993, it took time for even the public to be invited for memoranda. The advertisement, minimum 2 weeks. But we felt that, look, why the power vacuum? We can't leave the ministries to civil servants to run. You need political leaders to give direction. You need ministers to manage. They have a manifesto promise. Let's allow them to go start their work so that we know what they can do. So we've been most cooperative. In any event, all this period, all their nominees have gone through by consensus. When reports are laid, they don't even wait for the 48-hour period. We allow them to waive the requirement to wait for 48 hours. Apart from that, check from your colleagues who report from Parliament whether NDC side has ever had more than 104 parliamentarians.
So you're able to pass them by
Because
adding your numbers because
them.
their members don't come.
We support them. But so we are not against them forming their government. We are never against them. We've already been supporting them. And I was talking about Order 104. He said, except as provided in Rule 2 of this order, motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice is given. Okay? We have been waiving this for them because we want the president to form his government as quickly as possible. But we also expect some minimum respect, cooperation. We don't expect you to railroad matters and railroad issues. We expect that proud discussions are held and agreements properly respected. So one can say that yes, there were some excesses in the Thursday event. Unfortunately also, our clerk to the committee has not helped matters.
You maintain that she's a partisan.
No, she's been too
clerk.
partisan.
You
mentioned
it on the day you did the press conference this morning.
Yes, I mean, truth.
You still stand on that?
Of course, but why? If I don't stand by it, why would I repeat it? You see,
are you being fair to her?
Of course I am. She's not being fair to us. She's not being fair to us. She's not. Look, I served as leader of government business. We worked with her. The standards she held up to, where she would always insist that Dr. Atufosin's views must be sought.
Yeah.
What has changed? So don't let us go there. Already the clerk to Parliament has started an engagement, and I pray that by tomorrow we get to finally resolve it. If she changes her approach and she acts very neutral, we would all work with her happily.
There are some who believe that your posturing and how you addressed her is misogynistic.
Please.
I mean, you've seen some judges post to that effect, and others believing that it's not fair. You are being misogynist and all that.
If you are doing an interview and you don't engage me on a positivist path, it may be difficult for us to discuss things. People who hold extremist views, don't relate to them.
No, I'm asking you about it. I'm asking you about it.
You can ask a legitimate question, but don't go on the part of an extremist who, without going into details, decide to post anything and say, somebody says. No, that's not a good approach. We are parliamentarians. The clerks who work with us must be neutral. That's the rule. If a clerk is disrespecting a caucus and acting partisan, look, two major things I've not talked about, and I'll repeat it here. One, reports. You know, when I spoke against her conduct,
yes.
Today I have all the draft reports on my desk. Prior to that, the draft reports were not coming. I would only see the report the first time in the chamber. Who does that? Two, she would post nominations for vetting at midnight without consulting us. She will write letters to nominees. Look at the way she causes embarrassment on the Omanibuama case. Even Ablakwa, apparently she had written to Ablakwa to come that day. We didn't know. That is not the way Parliament works, and that is the truth.
But is that not at the direction of the chairman of the committee?
No. If it was the chairman who instigated it, I wouldn't go after her. I would criticize the chairman. When we met, there have been instances that chairman himself, for instance, the letter to Omanibuama, she denied it. She said, she gave Omanibuama 9 a.m. Both of us asked her. She insisted 9 a.m. We were seated at 9. Omani was not showing up. Eventually, when Joyce Bawa Muktari came to me and said, no, leader, they gave Dr. Omanibuama 11. And we cross-checked. She was now saying, telling us somebody else was to place a call. No, you don't do that.
But does she act on her own, the clerk? I mean,
that is why
she act on notice
that is why I have a problem with her, because your job is to work with both leaders. That is a practice we know here.
But was it fair to her to have addressed her publicly like that? You know, when the cameras were rolling and all of that. Aren't there other ways you could have engaged her?
When we engage quietly and things get out of hand and it causing us embarrassment, we must raise our protest. And I've raised my protest. Let's end it there. I protested, and it was within my right to protest. What she was doing to our caucus was unheard of, was unacceptable, and we had been quiet about it. I don't just get out of my way to criticize. I accommodated her on all the days that I was not seeing reports, but reports were being signed. I kept my calm. Okay? The short notice she was giving to us, she was writing letters without copying us. I kept my calm. But
did you ever caution her on all of that before?
Several times. I even spoke to the boss. So things were getting out of hand, and we needed to protest. So let's not trivialize it. We don't just get up, okay, to criticize. We say certain things founded on real challenges we face within. So I've made my case. The boss has engaged. At least my joy is that upon raising those serious concerns, today the right thing is being done. I have the draft reports for my inputs.
Have you gone through the draft reports?
I'm saying to see if today I have the
there are issues that you have.
The essence of the draft report is for me to go through and then make my inputs.
Have you done that?
I'm saying the essence of going through a draft report is to make my inputs.
But do you still insist that you don't want her to be the clerk to the committee anymore? You mentioned that in the press conference this morning.
I made a conditional statement. That is, if upon counseling, she's ready to be very neutral and professional, why not? But if she continues with that posture, it will be difficult for us to accept her. At least I've seen one positive indication, meaning that my protest is being addressed. Today we have our draft report, which we are going to work on, which is one major step. We take the rest up.
So the nominees that have been, vetted in the aftermath, of course, you did the vetting of Okudjota Blakwa, of Sam George. In the aftermath of that, we saw what happened. In the aftermath of that, again, you recused yourself, and then the rest of the nominees were also vetted. Do you expect all of these nominees to go through?
We'll deal with those matters on the floor tomorrow.
What about Okudjota Blakwa and Sam George specifically? Does the minority have any issues with how they answered the questions that were put to them?
First of all, they told the committee that some document that we demanded from them, they were going to provide those documents. So we expect those documents to be produced. Chairman has not told me of any document received yet. We are yet to receive those documents they promised giving to us. So when we receive those documents and we're supposed to go further or interrogate those issues, we will call them. I mean, of course, with the leave of the chairman. So there's no problem. It's our work we're doing. We have nothing personal against anybody. We vetted quite a number of people. Some of them, no question is asked. Some of them, the approach is such that you realize that this is a person who is ready for public service. Okay? So we are just doing our work. And it's not the first time that a minority leader is being given an unlimited space to ask questions.
Are you abusing that?
I cannot. If I was abusing
or being unreasonable about it,
if I were to be abusing my privilege, I would be seated for every vetting. How many times have you seen me on the vetting committee? And how many people have you seen me asking them questions? You see, we know we have a fair understanding of this game, and tomorrow I may be the one sitting there being asked questions. So I'm mindful. I will not be unreasonable. But some of our friends there are rather unfair in their actions. How can you, as a nominee, before the public, tell the whole country that President Akufo-Addo benefited financially from the Galamsey menace? And you look into the camera, insist that the man did. When you are asked to give justification, you go round that as the chief executive of the land, because he failed to address it and because he attended somebody's program, you had to conclude that way. Most unfair.
What was the point of that line of questioning? Because you asked him, will he apologize? Because people are wondering, what was the point? What was the point of that? Was it to put him in a certain light, or what were you trying to do with that line of questioning?
My vetting has three components. The policy issue, which you would have to address in respect of your designated ministry, your own CV, that I would want to ask you questions on. And by the way, I don't ask a question outside of the CV. And the third one being your own public engagement, what you've said in the public space, in Parliament, and things that are attributed to you, and all. So I mount my questions on these three categories and check the precedents. Minority leaders before me did more, maybe because sometimes we forget, but go into the archives, you realize that Harun Idrisu and Muntaka were given unlimited space to ask questions. Muntaka was a deputy whip, he was a deputy ranking. Go and check all the Muntaka vettings. Muntaka sat through and asked every nominee of Akufo-Addo questions. Harun Idrisu asked every nominee, to the extent that we had to create, give them some video screen for them to show videos and all. You remember?
Yeah.
You see,
so were you trying to replicate that?
No, not to replicate. Because you are saying that some people are accusing me of going overboard.
Yeah.
That's why I'm referring you to these things, because sometimes you, the media, can also help. You have the benefit of archives. You have been covering all of these. So sometimes I'm not here to dictate your editorial policies, but sometimes I think what you, the media, can do for us, the politicians, is that when people are coming up with these things, you must quickly go into the archives, get your researchers to do some work for you. You put it out there and say, look, men and women of the public, look here, in 2021, these were the leaders. This is what they did. Let's compare. And then you can give a fair verdict.
So you say what you're doing is not out of the ordinary. It's not novel. It's not something new.
Bagbin, go and check Bagbin's vetting. People were scrutinized over and over again.
So what is your response to the critics, who say you are not asking relevant questions, you are being overly political, you are using it as a platform to settle political scores?
Well, first of all, I'm a politician, and that is a political platform. Settle what scores? If somebody...
Questions about statements, social media posts,
of course,
and all of that.
Yes. So,
political
if somebody is chasing after others, claiming that they have acquired properties and terms it as looting, the same person appeared before you. He says that he earns only 15,000 Ghana cedis, yet he is renting a mansion at Airport Hills. He indicated in his CV that he lives at Airport Hills. Now, a mansion that he owns, is unable to even defend it. He now claims that he is a tenant. You think that is not fair?
What do you make of that response? You believe him?
No.
Because he was under oath?
No, I don't. I don't.
Are you going to trigger any processes for perjury or anything of the sort?
I don't believe it. I don't.
Will you do anything about that? Since you do not believe it, will you do anything? Because he was under oath.
Well, let's see. We are not done with the vetting yet. Some documents are supposed to be brought. We are waiting for those documents. So let's see.
So what role will that play in the posturing that the minority will adopt with regard to whether you will approve him or not?
Let's wait for the document to come. My respected friend Sam George also has told us he's going to bring us some documents. So we are waiting for it.
So you have not taken a position on them yet
Not
as
yet.
a minority?
We need to get the documents, evaluate it, and then take the next step.
But the chairman of the committee says Samuel Okudzeto Ablaka, for example, has been recommended, unanimously to be approved.
By who? Are you sure he said that? Are you sure he said that? Because the draft report is here. So the draft report is here. So I don't think he would say that. I'm not sure you are quoting him right, but I doubt if he would say that because I have.
So as of now, the nominees that have been vetted, nobody has been unanimously recommended
normally when
to go through approval.
Vetting, when we finish vetting, we have to sit to take a decision. We have to sit to take a decision. We have not taken a decision on Mr. Blackwell. So that's why I'm asking whether you are sure of what you are claiming the chairman has said. Because we've not taken a decision yet. The man said he was bringing some documents. So,
all right.
I don't know what you really mean by that.
But the others who were vetted after you recused yourself from the vetting, the chairman said those have been recommended by consensus to be approved by the House, because you recused yourself from vetting them after what happened and after the directive that the Speaker gave for there to be a meeting for them to reconstitute the appointments committee and all of that. What do you make of that? What's the minority's position on that?
Well, we're saying that I earlier told you that we'll take that one up tomorrow on the floor. These are issues that we'll take up on the floor.
You requested for a meeting with the speaker. Has that meeting happened?
Wait for tomorrow.
You can't say whether or not you've met Mr. Speaker. I mean,
I'm able to speak to you tomorrow, God willing.
But I mean, I also know you do. I'm sure those watching would be interested in knowing if you've been able
Obviously.
to speak to the Speaker of Parliament as regards these issues.
I'm able to answer a yes or no. But there are some occasions that you may hold back. So I'm saying that let's wait for tomorrow, God willing.
All right. You're still watching State of Affairs here on GHOne Television. We're coming to you live from Job 600. We are in the office of the Honorable Member of Parliament for the Ofutu constituency. He is the Minority Leader of Parliament, the Honorable Alexander Kwamna Afenyo-Markin. Graciously, he's playing host to us this evening here on GHOne Television, and we've been engaging him with regard to some of the issues that have come up, especially as regards the appointments committee sittings and, of course, other matters as it pertains to Parliament and its work. We're going to take a short break here. When we return, there's more that we will be talking about. But let me remind you that you can buy now and pay later with Sametro. You can own a very sleek and trendy smartphone and enjoy the luxury of paying in convenient weekly or monthly installments. And all you have to do is walk into any of MTN service centers and choose your favorite from a wide range of mobile phones on offer. And then the best part of all of this is that the phones come with up to 2 gigabytes free data, so you can share your pictures, get all the biggest scoops online, do whatever it is that you want to do with your internet data, and go on and share exciting news with your family and your friends and all of that. Share the news, because MTN and Sametro are making sure that they make this possible for you. And do remember, in all of this, MTN is everywhere you go. This is State of Affairs. To State of Affairs here on GHOne Television. Thank you very much for staying tuned. My name is Lantam, Papanko. I'm coming to you from the office of the Minority Leader in Parliament, the Honorable Alexander Kwamna Afenyo-Markin. And just before we took the break, we're talking about issues that have got to do with Parliament, especially the appointment committee's sittings. And it's been quite interesting, the engagement that we've been having. So, Leader, continuing with the conversation, I can see that you've got the draft report in front of you.
So you see, you were saying that when you came to some of them. Anyway,
yeah.
You never said that. That's
so what is it saying? What?
Looks like we made it. Love is in the
brought you a playback of an interview I did with the minority leader, Alexander Kwabena Afenyo-Markin. This was on Monday evening. That was right before the events that unfolded in Parliament yesterday, and that was, of course, to engage him and find out what was happening before they went to the plenary yesterday. And of course, we all know what happened yesterday when they were in Parliament. But of course, that was a precursor to that, and we just decided to bring you a playback of that interview here on the show. But let's switch our attention to something else. In fact, the issues I want to discuss, bother on spirituality and, religion and looking into the future and all of that. And my next guest is a man of God. He is the General Overseer of the Bridge Ministries International. He was here last year in the run-up to the elections, and we had a conversation about the upcoming election. That was in 2024. What the realms were looking like, what the watchers were saying. And he said a few things, including the fact that President John Dramani Mahama, then candidate Mahama, was going to win the elections because it had been decided in the realms, and the watchers had decided that this is the way the country should go. Well, true to what he told us, it came to pass, and he is here again in the studio this morning for us to have a conversation in the aftermath of that. Reverend F.D. Yali is my guest. Reverend, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's a long time. Good to see you too.
How has the year been for you?
It's been good, a good start, and we are hoping to end it well as well.
So you said it correctly that John Mahama was going to win the election, and you had no doubts in your mind.
Not at all.
You said in the realms, the watchers had decided that John Mahama was going to be president.
Yeah.
And it came to pass.
Yes, it did.
How does that make you feel?
Well,
or you weren't surprised because you already knew?
I'm not surprised, but it feels like a parent who has gone for a loan to pay the child's school fees, and the child is jubilating, but the parent is wondering how to pay the fees. So now that it has come to pass, there's work to be done. There's more work to be done. That this is just the beginning, because the watchers don't just give president to someone for just giving sake. There is a reason for them making a choice for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and I believe there's more work to be done even before the election.
All right, we'll talk about the work that you believe needs to be done, but there were many who, should I say, prophesied, or said that Dr. Bawumia was going to win the elections. There are many of them, many of them who said that, and they were very, how do I describe it? Very sure, very bold, very confident about what they were saying. Some were even saying at the end of the day, we'll all see the fake prophets will be separated from the true prophets and all of that. At the end of the day, John Mahama came out on top. So do we term them as fake prophets? Is it that they didn't see well and they were speaking out of their own perhaps preference or political desire, or what?
Yeah,
what do you think?
I'll not term them as fake. If you listen to the interview I did, I gave even accurate, like how the EC gave it. There'll be 52, there'll be 57. And when you listen to the EC, she said if we deduct everything, it will come to 52 for JDM and so on and so forth. Because it's a lot of people just speak what they see or what they hear. But in the realms of the spirit, there's always a debate. There's always an argument. You must
speak what they see and what they hear.
Yeah. So,
but if you are seeing something and it is purportedly coming from God, it's supposed to be accurate. Right? God doesn't change, or God doesn't tell lies, or God will not show you something
that is the difference. God saw darkness and said, "Let there be light." So, if God saw darkness, somebody can easily say, "God saw darkness," so there's going to be darkness. But what does God want? So, you see, in the Bible, there is the Lord God, and God. God does not change. But whenever you see the word Lord, it means everything is subject to man's work. Whenever you see Lord God, it's between God and man. When you see God, he doesn't change. So the Bible says God is not a man. I didn't say the Lord God. So there's a big difference.
But
so
it's the same person, isn't it?
It's
the same being.
The same being, but with different attributes. I can't limit you to just a broadcaster. There's more in you than what we see here every morning. So if I just limit you to what I see here, I'll be not doing you justice. So there's more to God than what people see. So sometimes people just see a part of God and they believe that that is just him. Jeremiah was asked, what do you see? He said, I see almond tree. Then he said, you see well. If somebody sees well, then somebody is not seeing well. And I always say that when God told, 1 Samuel 16, when God told Samuel that he's not going to make Saul king, he was pleading, trying to change the verdict. And God said, how long will you mourn for? So I've rejected him. So there are times that God's mind is made up. There are sometimes God gets angry and can say that I want to destroy this person. If you are not careful, you just follow the anger of God. But God will need somebody to stand in the gap to tell God that God have mercy, like we do with our chiefs, even with the judiciary and whatever. Sometimes we go and plead that God, can you do something about it? And God understands us very, especially after Jesus Christ coming on earth, where God has become man and understands how man feels. So God will tell, Genesis 18, God will tell Abraham that I'm going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham will say, you just can't do that. Have people there. So if you see this, you do this. So at the end of the day, there's a bargaining that goes on. But so many people just hear that God has said or the Lord has said and they just move. And in this election,
it's not God who shows it to them.
You see,
they say God showed me, God told me. It doesn't work like that. Or there's a certain spiritual realm that you enter and then you see things and you come and say it as if God has told you. I'm confused.
There were things, if let's say Bawumia had done, he would have won the election. There were things that Mahama, if he has not done, he would have lost the election. And all these things are there. Because you see, if we even the 1 Samuel 16 I was talking about, the Bible said, and an evil spirit from the Lord tormented Saul. It didn't say God, because there cannot be any evil with God. But those who were reporting it after said, and is it from the Lord God, and is it free from God? But in the real context of the first time God was speaking about it, he said an evil spirit from the Lord. So you see, many say they know God, but they don't know God. Many have an aspect of God. I've even seen men of God who have been in ministry for years talking as if they know God. Reading the Bible doesn't make you know God. Reading the Bible makes you know an aspect about God. It's like doing practicals in school, doing theory in school and not knowing the practicals. At the end of the day, if you are put on the field, you'll be found wanting. So you have a lot of people who read the Bible and they understand the Bible and they teach the Bible, but they've not encountered God. And if they've not encountered God, sometimes you listen to what they talk about, you know that this person has read, can talk about it, but has not experienced him for themselves.
And that's what you believe has been happening with some of these individuals who are saying.
Let me give you an example. That there was a prophet. I listened to almost all the prophets who were prophesying, and there was a prophet who was saying that the sun and the moon, and I laughed because anybody who operates the sun and the moon is limited in the prophetic. Now the wise men were led by a star, which is astrology. By the time they met Jesus in the manger, an angel appears to them and directs them. They came through astrology. They left through the word of God. They left through another dimension. So many people they become born again from, let's say, occult background. They become born again through fetish background, astrological background. When they come, instead of they putting those ones aside and move into the things of one, they still add it to what they do. But you see, if you look at the believer today, all we know is binding demons and so, but you don't bind a principality. A principality is dealt with by principles. So no matter how you go binding and praying, it doesn't work. They live by certain principles, like prosperity and poverty. It's not a demon, it's a principality. You can let
demons that will make sure that you don't prosper.
Demons,
which is who targets you.
The Nigerians will say
your business and all of that.
The Nigerians will say, "We that the gods wants to destroy, they first make mad." So your mindset is very important to your determination of your success or your failure.
So a witch can destroy your success.
A witch,
yes.
Before a witch will destroy your success, he will change your mindset about certain things. You could become lazy in prayer. You could become, you have a strong desire to enter into all kinds of sin, to give way for them. So Jesus himself says something that the prince of this world, he cometh, but he has nothing in me. So the enemy always have access if he has a key product in you. And you see, as I was saying, we deal with a lot of demons, but you look at the beginning of creation, God didn't even ask man to control demons. He said, have dominion over the earth, the sea, the land. So the ability to control the sun, the moon, and the stars is very important. But you know what we do? Sometimes we allow, they say, let the stars be your guide. They say, I'm Capricorn. I am this. The star is being your guide. Cancer. And that is a lower version of who you are.
Are those things even godly?
They are not godly, but they are real. Like witchcraft is real. So you can't say that witchcraft doesn't exist. You can't say that evil does not exist. They do. But you see, they are a lesser form of beings. And you can easily submit to them. And then they control you. Even God that created us does not control us.
He's given us free will.
Free will. So any spirit that gives you control, you are dealing with something other than God.
Any spirit that wants to control you,
manipulate you, you are dealing with something other than God.
So is that what some of these prophets, or men of God in quotes, are dealing with?
Yeah, some are
and
dealing
the spirits
with.
Are showing them things that necessarily are not.
I had one of them, very good man. He said he saw JDM win, and then he tried to push them to talk to them. They didn't mind him. Then he went to pray again, and then he saw Baumia winning. You see, that is it. Balaam will go to God, and God will say, don't curse the Jews, don't curse Israel. He will go the second time, God said don't. Finally he goes there, God said go. So sometimes you push it, God will give you, like Jesus told Judas, whatever you want to do, do quickly. And Judas will say, but you told me to go and betray you. But I didn't mean that go and betray me to be killed. It was because your intentions were clear. That's what you wanted. So if some of us will talk, like say, people think, I have people who were saying that you just came in late to come and prophesy. The truth is that I've been working on His Excellency since 2007. I was the first person to write a report on why he can be a vice president and presented former President Rawlings. Because they told me you can't go to him with words. So I either present a profile. I've not met him physically. I've not even spoken to him. But I wrote a full profile on him, on how he can change the dimension of Ghanaian politics. And I presented to former President Rawlings. But I've not gained access. But you see, I'm convinced about what I believe. This election, the good news about it for me, that made me come out boldly, was the fact that I am this guy, the Deputy General Secretary, Mustafa Bandi, came to me 2 years before the elections and told me that he's gone everywhere. They say he's losing the election. He should not stand, he will lose. And I said, I'll tell him something. So I called him and I said, he should go, he's going to win. After checking in the spiritual realm. And I gave him the percentage at which he was going to win. Whilst he was there, he was losing. I called him and told him that things are happening this way. He should take certain steps. He won. So during this election, I called him again and said, there are things we want to do to check. So by April, when the eclipse of the sun and the moon was happening, I called him. He linked me to this woman. Is very, I think the president should reward her. Honorable Joyce Bauer and her team, Bauer Mutari. As soon as he got to her, she gave me a young prophet by name Godspray, who was in the office of Mahama. They've been praying. So they gave me, and I said, these are things we need to do to control the sun and the moon and the stars before we get to the elections.
Control the sun and the moon and the stars. Because people were trying to use the sun, the moon, and the stars to do things.
Let's not forget that our vice president then is a Muslim. And you know, our Muslims, they allow the sun and the moon to do a lot of things for them. So we had to go ahead. So by the time people came in to chant, personally, I had to pick a plane to go to US to do something, because there was also the eclipse happened not only in the US, to make sure that we control. You see, God has not just given us if you look at the book of Romans, he said the whole creation is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. You see, we Christians have limited ourselves to I'm binding a witch, I'm binding a demon, those things are small ones. The reality is controlling the elements, controlling matter. And
is that biblical?
It's biblical. Let me give you an example.
Not akin to the things you.
Let me give you an example
with the astrology.
No, that is
all of
in
that.
the astrology and numerology, they control you. But in the things of God, you control it. So let me give you an example. Daniel controlled a lion.
Did Daniel control the lion?
He sat in the.
Or it is God who kept the lion's mouth shut.
Okay, God
so that
kept
one
the mouth,
angel came and kept the mouth shut, so that the lion doesn't harm him.
God kept the mouth shut, but it's the personality who was in the cage. You see, let me give you an example. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were able to sustain themselves in fire. Look at their lifestyle. They were eunuchs. There's a lifestyle they lived. If we read Daniel chapter 1, they decided not to defile themselves with the kings. Some people say that if you're a man of God, isn't the grace of God? If we tell you the price people pay to be able to control some of these things, you wonder.
So how do you control it? What you control
so let me give
in the name of Jesus, or you do things?
Look, let me give you an example that Joshua controlled the sun. Mm-hmm. When God wanted to give Hezekiah more life, he made the sun go back 15 degrees, and that gave Hezekiah 15 more years. Now let's look at even creation. Do you know that there's a little bit I've learned on quantum physics, which says with light you can control matter. When God came in, the first thing he saw was darkness. He said, let there be light. This is not the sun and the moon. And
this
then
is the word of God.
Yeah, the word is light. Mm-hmm. And that light is also life. So he said, let there be light. Then he said, let the sun move this way, let the earth move this way, let this one move this way. Do you know that most people don't know that God has given most of the, let me give an example. In geography, we call the northeast wind for trade winds, right? Mm-hmm. And we call the southwest wind monsoon wind. Let me ask a few questions. How did somebody like Job get destroyed? Job got destroyed by the wind from the wilderness. How did God use the east wind to open the Red Sea? And how did God use the west wind to close the Red Sea? How did God use the east wind to bring locusts to the land? And how did God use the west wind to bring the locusts out of the land? It's all in the Bible. So if you look at this thing technically, you look at how did Jesus sleeping in a boat, is walking by the disciples and said, there's a storm. And Jesus wakes up and said, peace be still. And the wind listened. The wind listened to him. Now you can say it's a demon, but see, he was controlling elements. He was controlling matter.
Well, he's God, so
God. And that is where in the book of Acts, I think chapter 16, it said, they said the demon said, Paul I know, Jesus I know. In other words, a human being can build himself a certain angle that he could be able to also control matter. To be able to tell, let me tell you this, let's not even move in. I know some places in Kumasi, Asante region, that they are fetish, who can control rain. Mm-hmm. And now you say they are fetish. But if I tell you that I have also controlled rain before, because I need that, and there are videos of it, you say, hey, you see, sometimes we think that it's only unbelievers or occult who can control systems. But you see, it's a price you pay to get there. And most often, when you pay the pricing, the price is always called, I call it, you must be dead daily.
You must be dead daily. Like, Jesus said, the prince of this world comes, he has nothing in me. Paul said, I die daily. You know, if the enemy finds a little bit of bitterness, unforgiveness, lust, these are things that if you don't control, you can't control matter. So sometimes people say that, oh, this prophet, he has just, let me give you 2008. This is a secret. 2008, before the election, I was writing for Honorable Standugbe for the elections. And I realized that this prophet was very serious. And he controls the prophet of Usibempa. I'm not close. You know what I did? I had to go to where he plays football at SEC and play football with him for almost 2 years. Just to have a system
to control certain things, to move to move NDC to power. Because initially he didn't want NDC.
But he said NDC was never going to come into office. And then later on he said, because of the good heart that John Mahama has, God is going to give the country back to him. This was at the very, close to the elections, right? Previously he had said that the NDC...
Let me tell you what happened spiritually. And this one, we have messages and things to confirm. There's a team that works in Joyce Bauer's office. When Hubert Angel came out to say that Mahama should call him, and Mahama didn't call, I asked them to call him. And they told me the reasons why he couldn't call. That I can't reveal here. Then by the time he called, he said it was almost too late. Then when they called me, I said, listen, before that, I told them that we need to present the heart of Mahama in prayer. So the team we presented, so when Angel came out and said that he has seen the heart of Mahama, you see, except Angel doesn't hear from God. So that was told him. And then number two, he also said that he is going to control the system. We also had to bring a scripture to take it into intercession with dry fasting. Why? Because you can't stay in your country and dictate for another country. The prince of Persia would not allow Daniel, a whole Daniel, to have access. So there's a principality also in Ghana, and Prophet Hubert Angel can access Ghana that freely. So then when we also prayed, the next thing he also came out to say that the Lord has spoken to him that there are principalities in Ghana, as in Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams and Prophet Owusu Bempah, and that they should consult them. Then we knew that something was happening spiritually. Then now the question is that we knew by prayer Archbishop's heart already, but we didn't know the heart of Prophet Owusu Bempah. So we had to pray to God concerning Prophet Owusu Bempah. And as for what we did spiritually, we can't say it here. And by the time Prophet Owusu Bempah was coming to the President Mahama meet the press, I told my team, when he comes there, the Lord will speak to him. And when he got there, I was not surprised. So that I had a team behind me. I was sitting at the back. People were sitting on the stage. I prefer to sit at the back. They rushed to me and said, hey. And when he spoke, you see, except Prophet Owusu Bempah doesn't hear from God. Except Prophet Hubert Angel doesn't hear from God. God always, and so if even Prophet Owusu Bempah said Mahama is not good, he listens to his master. God must speak to him. And so you don't challenge, you don't challenge your pastor. You speak to the one that will speak to your pastor. Like in our local, if your father is misbehaving towards you, you look for somebody that your father reverse and go and talk to the person to come and talk to your father on your behalf, because your father will not listen to you. And I thank God that all these things came to pass.
Interesting. These are very interesting, things. So things were done spiritually, to make sure that John Mahama wins the election.
Yeah.
And if
this thing, Honorable Joyce Bauer will understand it very well.
And if those things were not done, it means he wouldn't.
You see, every prophet. Let me tell you this. I personally visited the spiritual father of Reverend President Mahama, Reverend Wingham,
yes,
and then his pastor. And I was surprised. Let me tell you this: any prophet, including me, I'm not a prophet, who says he single-handedly brought Mahama to power is a liar. I didn't know that Ghana had watchers in Pentecost and Assemblies of God like this. When I met them and they told me people were praying, I personally went into the spiritual realm. Look, I don't think any presidential candidate in the history of Ghana has had the church, like especially Pentecost and Assemblies of God, interceding worldwide
on his behalf. And this was deliberate and intentional. So, but why? What did they see in him? What would you say they saw in John Mahama that made them?
One of the things I would say is that, you see, in this election, the water spirits were against the MPP. The earth was against MPP because of certain things that has happened in the nation.
Like what?
Like the Galamsey. I was in a watchers meeting when they went into an earth water meeting. where they were again. And look, they even.
But it's not only MPP that was doing galamsey. There are people in NDC who also do galamsey.
Let me give you this. In the spiritual realm, when there's a mess up in a place, let me give you a scripture. Exodus 32. When Israel messed up by 7 idols, God had given the 10 commandments to Moses. Guess what God said to Moses? Get down, your people have forsaken me. God didn't say they are his people. At the end of the day, the authority was in the hands of the then government to hold people accountable. So if you are not holding them accountable, then it means you are the one that is causing things to happen. So at the end of the day, when it comes to the spiritual realm, they hold the authorities who they put in charge responsible for whatever happens on earth. So even for Jesus to meet, for the wise men to meet Jesus, they had to contact the king Herod. Why? It is a protocol. It's only on earth we bypass protocol. In the spiritual realm, they value protocol than ever before. And let me tell you this, have you seen that every election, anybody going to opposition has a certain character, whether it's NDC or MPP? And sometimes you wonder if they don't see it.
What? A certain what? Arrogance.
A certain arrogance, a certain pride, a certain train people about. Telling people, I don't want to use the words, but if you look at it critically, I think you shouldn't say the why, because it's a territorial spirit. When Jesus was casting out a demon, the spirit said, don't cast me out from here. This is our territory. So if you avail yourself, there was a prophecy that somebody will betray Jesus, but the name was not given. But you see, every Judas has a character. Every Judas has a character. Like in our churches, people can be Judas and people can be church late. People mix up with your enemies. It's a character trait. So as soon as you pick a character trait, a spirit stays in you. Let me give you a practical one. If there are mosquitoes in my house and I go for a spray and I spray the place and my environment is still not clean,
they'll come back.
They are coming back. So, and I don't close my windows and my doors. So if I really want the mosquitoes to go, I must change my environment as well as my personality, not just the spray. So prayer alone is not enough to deal with these things. I need to put in practical life aspects to set me free.
So now that all of this has happened, the man has won the elections. He is president. There was a lot of intercessory prayers that were said on his behalf, because it looks like, people in the church wanted him to be president and all of that, per what you're telling us. So does it mean now that Ghana is going to be better off under a presidency?
This is the beginning
of John Mahama,
of the battles. Why? Because you see, most often the Bible said by the prophets brought them out of Egypt, by the prophet they were sustained. Most of when I remember when the late Prophet Moses came into power, the system that brought him into power, he threw a lot of them away. And this is what could happen here, which we are praying it doesn't. And I have personally spoken to Reverend Wingham on phone just before the elections, and some of these things have been assured, because you see, Reverend Wingham of the Assembly is a very powerful, strong, and I like when the president came is that he has really influenced his belief in God. So we need more prayer than before. Because see, let me give you this. This is the watches, what has happened. The whole world, there's expiry date, the whole world, on locations. You see what Trump is doing? Very soon, people will have to, let me give you something about Ghana. In the economy of Ghana, what God will want to use His Excellency for is to come in with homegrown policies, and this homegrown policy is going to make him have enemies. Why? Because riches are going to go to another set of people who will be interested in investing in our nation. But what is happening is that most of the people who do import, is it? I've forgotten. Like they bring things from outside, like second-hand clothes, second-hand things, are going to start fighting him. And who are they going to use to fight him? They are going to give money to his own people to fight him. Because you see, why is he aligning with people like Mali, Burkina Faso? All these people, you see how Mali and Burkina, you see, when the white man came to Africa, the traditionalist people agreed on a covenant with them by pouring libation. And technically the land was given them. Now the new level of trade is no more slave trade. The new level of trade is territories. not the human being aspect. So can we imagine that people come from their country and we sell our lands cheap to them in the name of a Ghanaian who comes in and stands behind it? It's the same way of we're selling ourselves to foreigners. And these are some of the things that His Excellency is going to deal with. And that is going to make him have a lot of enemies. And this is where he needs a lot of spiritual backing. But the good news is that nobody can fight a president. Because when you swear, the principalities and powers over the nation agree with you.
When you take the presidential oath.
Good. You become very strong. If not, most of our presidents, GHOne would have finished them. Because all the water bodies and everything are in your hands. And you have total control over it. And I will tell our president that he shouldn't have only the law control. He should allow his men of God, he has the men of God around him, who have that control to also speak. Because a lot of the things that is going to happen, let me give you a lot of the things that's going to happen, even in Ghana, there are a lot of industrial, let me use the word, industrial IT, medicine discoveries that are going to be discovered in Ghana. The world is all coming to rise to Africa. Africa is the new, the tenancy agreement over Africa in the spiritual realm has been broken.
The tenancy agreement.
Good. Africa in a way was under some kind of bondage, under some colonial government who people agreed with and pour libations and did some spiritual agreement with people, thinking people who are white
in the past.
In the past.
That is why Africa has not prospered.
Good, because technically, if you give your land to me and it's not yet 99 years, you can't come for it. It's an agreement. But the tendency in the spiritual realm is breaking, and Africa is going to shine at the light of the world. Many foreigners are going to come back to Africa. And look, Europe is going down. America is going down. People are going to rise down. This is where Africa must solidify itself and have the medicine Africa has, even Ghana, can cure most of the dangerous sickness in the world that they don't have solutions to. How did Fernando Po go and steal cocoa and bring it to Ghana? And it was smuggling. But how can a white man come to Ghana, Chinese come to Ghana, take some of our things and go to their country and plant, and nobody has rules and regulations governing some of this? I think it is time we as Africans began to know that the control over our mind has been broken.
So Africa is going to begin to prosper.
Africa, because of the homegrown policy.
And you're saying Ghana is going to play a significant role.
Very significant. It was supposed to have started
under John Mahama.
Good. It was supposed to have started in 2008 until they sold, let me say this, Vodafone. You see,
that's Ghana Telecom.
Ghana Telecom. Then, yes. There's an how do you call it? Equator. Yeah. There's a line that communicates in the spiritual realm, and one is in UK and another is in Tema. Now this line,
you're talking about the Greenwich.
Thank you, Greenwich Meridian.
Greenwich Meridian.
So this line was taken off, and Ghana is gradual. You see, there are some things that maybe. Let me give you an example. Esau was thinking that it's just food.
But he sold his birthright.
He sold his birthright. There are some things.
So what has Ghana Telecom would have got to do with that?
That line has a communication line spiritually to help Ghana gain access in a certain realm.
Ghana Telecom.
Yeah.
But it was sold to Vodafone.
Vodafone.
So we couldn't break the bondage.
It affected a certain fast movement of Ghana.
But now there is a state-owned telecoms company.
Good.
That is Airtel Tigo.
Let's
government has bought.
That's why
fully government.
Ghana must take control of that area. You see, in terms of industry, it's time we began to believe in ourselves. And for the first time, I feel Ghanaians, Africans are beginning to believe in ourselves. For one reason or another, everybody is trying to say, let's help ourselves to grow. Now, and the system like happening in Europe and Americas is people like, it's time we brought our mind back home. Initially, we were like, okay, we say things like, if you are going to church and see the white man, go home. You've seen Jesus. So, do you know that in Africa, we treasure foreigners, especially in Ghana, we treasure foreigners than our own people?
You can.
It's like even in some of the traditional
give some sort of reverence.
Even in some of our traditional places, people will take care of their nephews and their nieces and leave their children. But you see, we need to come to the place of Africa and know that, and this is what the portals are opening for Africa on, to know that we have everything to change the world. And when you start changing this, the system will start fighting you.
So in the case of Ghana, let's zero in on Ghana. Okay. In the case of Ghana under John Mahama's presidency, I've heard some prophets, say Ghana is going to do very well under John Mahama. Ghana will prosper. He will do so well that there will be a clamor for him to go a second. All kinds of. I'm sure you've heard some of these things, right? From where you sit, attending watchers meetings and all of that. What do you see as the future of this country in terms of its prosperity and in terms of how well John Mahama will perform?
Our president is going to do very well, but if the people around him, I like what the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams said at the meeting I was watching on TV. He said the appointees of His Excellency must learn from him. It's called image and likeness. You see, one of the things that the demonic world fears is when you carry the same image and the same likeness. Now, that's why God created us in His image and His likeness, but we lost it along the line. So when you present yourself, they don't know you. Now, what is happening is that most of the appointees must learn to pick up the character of this man.
The character of John Mahama.
Yeah, his humility, his ability to flow with people, giving access to everybody, not being arrogant, not being proud. If they go in a different dimension, certain spirit will permeate through the party.
What do you see with the people that he has appointed so far in that regard?
You see, he's giving hope to the youth. And most of these people he has given hope to are not novices. They've either been on boards or they've served in the parliament meetings or they've been deputies. And some of them have even gone to court, been to court on trying to cause financial loss, which didn't work. It means that they know what to do to fail, what to do to be jailed, and what to do to be successful. And that means he has not put novices there. But the thing is that you need a certain character. You need a certain mindset to govern a Ghanaian. Let me give an example. One of the things that has, let me give an example. When Nigeria tried to fight corruption, I won't even use Ghana because I'm going to be in my own attack. The system in Nigeria is technically corrupt. You can't do anything without corruption. So when you say you are going to fight corruption, you are dealing with your own people. One of my sons was there and he had a message on his phone from the Ghana police that he has crossed. He was overspeeding and that he's giving his last warning. And I said, wow, systems can work in Ghana. There's no middleman. There's nobody there to take the money. But guess who is going to be angry? The one who was taking the bribe, that is not going to get a bribe again.
The one who would have physically
collected the money
with the speed gun to catch you and
thank you.
You are speeding. Give me money and let me let you go.
So these are the people. So we need to have a system that naturally says that this is who we are. I think we've lost. That's why I love the word reset from His Excellency, because the whole system is not working. The whole nation. Why do people go to America, Europe, and go? We are better than them, but the only thing about that country is that systems work. So even though they break it some way, somehow.
So that makes them better than us.
Good.
Our systems work and our systems don't work.
So our system must work here. If it doesn't matter the person. It must be that this is how we want it. This is the image. I'm sure GHOne has its image. And it must be protected at all costs. Now, I think every person that His Excellency has given, they must go for a retreat after the whole appointment, and you must tell them that, listen, and I'm not be surprised if between June and August, some are fired. Because the bench of...
between June and August, you'll not be surprised if some people who have been appointed now
are fired, or there's reshuffle. Yeah. You see, the bench of JTM now, it's better. It's like the days of Ghana when we were winning laurels in the football.
Those who are sitting on the bench
are more powerful than those who are playing.
So if you
misbehave, and I'll tell the young ones, they should not be like, what's the Rehoboam, Solomon's son, who was young and was given position and was listening to his friends and was not listening to advice from the elders. I'm seeing that it looks like His Excellency is putting people who are very mature on the boards to control the younger ones. Please, let them do a lot of learning from these older ones who might not have the energy. That is one of the things that gives us bureaucracy. You go to present things at the offices, 2 weeks they've not even finished reading because they are tired, they are sleepy. But now if you put in young people who have the energy to work and a solid board which are going to help them, I think they should learn to listen to the advice of the elders and not listen to their colleagues, their friends and their age groups, or else they will end up dividing the nation. This is where those who say things like he's going to go 8 years, 10 years, 60 years, I have a little bit of, because you see, in presenting your case to the watchers, you can hear that this is what God wants to do. But like, let me give you an example. When the Deputy General Secretary Mustafa Bandi came to me, everything he was told that he can't win was true. But I knew why they said he can't win. So I had to deal with why he can't win, so that he will go through. So at the end of the day, once in a while, I called him. And I tell him, watch this. Like we said, I called him and I told him about poisoning on his life because he has an assignment from God. Good. So when God, so sometimes if God wants to take you somewhere and God realizes you don't have spiritual authority over you, God can delay your going. Because along the line, somebody needs to direct you. Because you've probably not submitted yourself wholly to God yet. Let me give you an example. Every time I like to use the Bible. Yes. Jesus is the Son of God. He's so all-powerful. How come Mary receives an angel, speaks to him, and Joseph sees Mary pregnant, is no more interested in Mary, even though he was betrothed to her. An angel comes to her and says, take this one and take care of her. Protect the child. The next time they go, read the Bible, the Lord never spake, and no angel spake to Mary again. Now from that day, Joseph was the one God was dealing with. Joseph had a dream that run and go to Egypt. Now first, why didn't Jesus fight? He was too young. Number two, why did God give him Joseph and Mary? They were strong enough to control who he was. At age 12, he wanted to do ministry. If you look chapter 2, they went to look for him after 3 days and say, you are going home. You are not going to start ministry today. And in Luke 2:52, and Bible said Jesus went with them, and then he was subject to them. The word subject to them is a big word. And so he increased in wisdom, in stature, in favor with God, in favor with men, mental maturity, physical maturity, social maturity, and then godly maturity. Many of us men of God, we only have God maturity. We don't have social maturity. You don't have how to present yourself maturity. And those ones, God is not going to teach you. He puts you under the tutelage of those who are matured. And somebody was asking me, how long have you been in ministry? Interestingly, January 2nd was my 30 years in full-time ministry. Oh, wow. Good. And my mom is a pastor. Jesus started ministry at 30. Thank you. Thank you for that. So you see, even Jesus submitted to authority for guess how many years? 18 years. And even for his first miracle, he had a banter with a mother. John 2. But he still obeyed. But it was like, Jesus was like, the man said, do something. He said, my time has not yet come. It's like, I said, you've been telling me my time has not come. You've been telling me my time has not come. Now I should do something. And he obeyed. Yes. So at the end of the day, if you are not careful, you'll be in the system too early for comfort. And I tell people that, especially with this age of social media, media is very good, but when media promotes you, the media brings you down. Well, the media will do what it needs to do. Thank you. So just as the media propagate the good news, they also propagate the other news. Yes. So you need to give yourself a lot of balance. And let me say this. You see, there's been a lot of things coming about men of God going here, doing it and doing that. You see, sometimes because of the level we enter, when you enter a certain level, you need to maintain a certain status. If you don't maintain, and that level has its own demonic attack. So let me give you an example. If you put on this light here and you don't close the windows and it rains, flies are going to come in here. It's the rain that brought the flies. The anointing has a way it brings certain demonic things around you. So if you don't maintain a certain composure, you will fall. And sometimes the very people you are saving are the reason why you are failing. And at the end of the day, the people you are saving will be the people who will go to the world and tell the world that you are a failure as a man of God. It happened to Moses. They got their water, but they couldn't get to the promised land. So we need to know that the level you move into, and there's a look, someone like Paul did so much, but Paul was more or less like an Enoch, even though he was not an Enoch. He was not married. So you should see that sexual sin, bitterness, unforgiveness are central attacks based on the height you go. And we have a lot of us men of God who are not accountable to anybody. Let me give you a story. Once I saw a man of God on TV, a younger man of God, let me say it, a younger man of God had fallen and was all over the news. And I was a man of God. What do you say about this person? He was my son. He told me he slept with this. He told me he slept with this. He told me he slept with this. And I'm like, there's a problem in the body. Because if the young one
he's succumbing to the desires of the flesh.
Yeah, but if your associate, your I don't know, your son in ministry is confiding in you on his or her weakness to guide him, you don't end up talking about it in public. So it's made a lot of people who need mentorship struggle and not talk about it. But you see, in our days, we see, like, if anything comes about a man of God, they say he's fake. Please, we have false prophets.
Yeah.
We have immature prophets. And we have not called prophet, fetish prophets. So like Balaam, you see, let us not joke. Balaam had backslided. He was like, and today we call him a fetish priest prophet. But God made sure he never spoke against Israel. Why? His words were powerful. So he said, oh, no weapon fashioned against me. Sometimes I just laugh over some of these things. Now, when Balaam, God realized that Balaam was going to curse Israel because of the bribe he has collected from Balak, anytime he moved, God said, I will not allow you to speak. There's no enchantment or divination against Jacob. You know what the guy did later? He told the king of Balak that I know how to get Israel for God to lose favor with them. Let's send women and men to seduce themselves and let them have sex. That's all. And now the freedom for delay has occurred. And now there's message of grace coming these days that if you sin, God will forgive you. Yeah, if you sin, God will forgive. But the funny thing is that in the spirits, don't forgive. No spirit forgive. Even the Holy Spirit.
But if God forgives,
no,
is that not the entire reason why
Jesus died?
Jesus came to die for us.
Let me explain it this way.
So
your sin is forgiven.
Yes.
But the reason why you are not moving to a certain level in life is because of your weakness. I don't know why you understand me.
I get it.
You are not moving on. Your sins are forgiven. Like in this place we are in.
So you are suffering the consequences.
The consequences of it. So you realize that you can't get into certain meetings spiritually. And if you force yourself, you get there, you come back with an attack. Terminal illness or whatever. Look, do you know that Peter, James, and John were the only people who experienced the transfiguration with Jesus? They were told not to talk about it. Read the whole Bible. Matthew reported it. Mark reported it. Luke reported it. John never did. Peter never did. James never did. Why? It's not everything you see in the realms
that you have to come and
talk about. Some is to guide you, to guide even the people. I can see something about you, and somebody came to me that you were never speaking about JD Amat or the last minute. I have people I spoke to behind the scenes.
So you don't necessarily have to.
I don't need to. No, I'll speak to Mike Dokusi. There are people I was speaking to.
All right. So back to Ghana and what you see, about Ghana, right? You've talked about the fact that the appointees need to emulate the character of John Mahama, and Ghana will prosper. What about John Mahama himself, right?
I think he needs to, there are fathers around him. He needs to form a council, it's not constitutional, of spiritual leaders that will help him in that direction. Because
you already have a lot of men of God around him.
You see, yes, he has a lot of men of God, but it must be sieved through a man of God. I know why I'm saying that. You see, everybody is prophesying.
Yeah, everybody.
Thank you.
Plenty.
And so
plenty people all over
there must be a place where it is sieved, and the person should be very open. Because you see, let me give you an example. You can't downplay the works of, I was saying, the Assemblies of God, the Church of Pentecost, Royal House. I don't mention Action. There are a lot of places. Everybody played their role, and all of them hear from God. But you see, the thing is that people hear from different dimensions.
We see in parts and we prophesy.
Thank you. People have different dimensions, so sometimes you must be able to understand where it's coming from through a central point. If it doesn't go to a central point, some will. You see, there are some things that people even see. It's a demon that has revealed it. Because we are quite baby and we are quite a baby, and the demon has revealed it, and you come and say, "I saw," and what you saw is true. It's a demonic trap, but you are not supposed to talk about it. I don't tell my members what the devil is doing. I advise them on what to do. I must tell you what God, because you see, if I tell you I see a black cat following you, I'm sure all of us you have imagined a black cat.
I hope there's no black cat.
There's no black cat. You see, so some of the times we allow our members to go through things, but what we tell them.
But prophets will tell you, "I see you a cloud of death hanging over your head."
That is not good.
I saw you in an accident, or I saw this. So then they will tell you that God reveals to redeem.
Thank
the
you.
one God has revealed.
You see?
Let's pray against it.
Hezekiah,
like they will tell you scary.
Hezekiah was told by Isaiah,
that he's
going to die.
Yes.
It was told personally to him.
Yes.
It wasn't publicized.
Yes.
And he dealt with it personally with God.
He turned his face to the wall. He cried,
you see,
and he prayed.
When God saw darkness, Genesis chapter 1, what did he say? Let there be light. You see the darkness so that you know what to do.
Okay.
But you don't go spreading and then I see death. And the person you are talking to is so immature, doesn't even understand left and right. I tell my church, I'm in a church with you. I don't go anywhere. If I prophesy, it does not come to pass. I'm here with you. Most often, this thing happens a lot with visiting pastors. After they have said what they need to say, they leave. And you can't hold them accountable because they are not coming to the church again. And those who have fellowships and all this, and because they don't see you like a church member, they tell you what they see because, after all, you are not coming again. And guess what? People love to hear negative things. I remember one of my church members, I saw that his son was going to die. And I just told her that I want you to sow a seed so that we will pray for the future of your children to be very bright and powerful so that they'll make it in life. For 1 month, she didn't take any serious thing. Then a prophet was invited to the church. When he came, he said, "Who is this person?" The person was not even in church. He came from the house to the church. He said, "Is the name of your son this?" He said, "Yes." He said, "In 2 weeks, your son is going to die." He said, "What do I do?" He said, "Sow a seed of 2,000 Ghana cedis." She went and brought the money.
But because you didn't say her son was going to die.
Thank you. So you see, we are a people that believe in negativity than positivity. I'm not supposed to tell JDM the negative things. The intercessors and the warriors is their duty. He needs the peace of mind to work.
Yeah.
So he doesn't fear any evil.
So are you seeing that the first, or should I say these last 4, because it's supposed to be his last term, he's already done a 4-year term, right? Those who are saying he will go another term, and those who are saying the MPP is going to be in opposition for a long time, what are you saying to that?
JDM going for another term was a prophecy. I think the only person who can remember this will be Prophet El Bernard, when around 2011, 2012 we met at, is it Dynasties no more? But that is something I want to keep in a box for now. But
it's all over. People are saying it.
You see, that is what they are saying. But I want to keep in the box for now.
Okay.
Why I'm saying that is that the prophecy is there, but there are conditions for which he must fulfill.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you this. Do you know that? Let me tell you this. Do you know that if by the 3rd year of JDM he's not pulling his weight, there'll be trouble in Ghana? Like in our other, and as we sit now, some of the other first countries, there's another uprising that is coming. Because the African is rising up.
So the president must sit up.
The president must sit up.
All right. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and so we'll have to wrap up. What would you say finally before we go?
I'll tell everyone that believe in God, but don't just build yourself to deal with demons, but have control over your life. Have control over your destiny. You have, as a believer, you have the ability to determine your day. You have the ability to determine your night. And if you've not built structures for yourself, build it. Because without structures, prophecies will not really materialize.
Reverend Yali, always a pleasure having you here in the studio.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure the first time we met. It's been a pleasure having you in the studio today again. We know that you continue to pray for the nation to prosper. And we hope that we'll see you again.
Yes, sir.
Here at GHOne TV. We've just spoken, of course, to Reverend F.D. Yali. He's the General Overseer of the Bridge Ministries International. It's been quite the interesting conversation. I'm pretty sure you see him here on the network again. But we'll have to take a short break here. When we return, there's still more coming up here on GH Today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's got to do with the 9 to 5 compendium launch, right? If you want to know what it's all about, of course, you should draw closer to your TV set and perhaps increase the volume a bit. My guests in the studio will talk about this, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get some really good insights into what all of this is about. In the studio with me are two speakers at this 9 to 5 compendium launch. Mrs. Grace Ofure Ibakomu is here in the studio. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Nice to have me here.
Yes, we're very happy to have you here in the studio as well. Thank you for joining us. And Kechi Akonyele is here as well.
Thank you.
She's also a speaker. She's a CEO of Access View Africa.
Yes.
And Lifecard strategic partner, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so we're happy to have both of you here in the studio. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. So you gave me this book right before we started the discussion, right before we came on air, and it says 9 to 5 is not a scam. There are a lot of people who believe that 9 to 5 is a scam.
Okay.
What do you say to that? Why is 9 to 5 not a scam?
Because it's just the concept we grew up to believe that. So your thoughts and minds, your behavior are based on the informations that you have. So when we're growing up, even from the school, from wherever we got our informations from, and what we saw with our parents, with our friends, it looked like everything about 9 to 5 is a scam.
I mean, and for the benefit of those who don't know what we're talking about, 9 to 5 is like a regular job. Right, like a regular job.
Yeah,
you
so
go to work at 9 a.m. You close at 5 p.m. Here we go to work at 8. Close at 5.
Oh, okay, because we are from Nigeria.
Yeah, we go to work at 8. By 8 o'clock, you have to be awake.
Okay, so 8
close
to
at 5.
8 to 5.
8 to 5. Yeah, so
a lot of people, like what I wrote here, I said, learn the secrets to thriving and finding real fulfillment in your workplace. So 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 is your workplace, and everybody a lot of people, like 90% people around globally, think that they don't find fulfillment. The number one reason is their mindsets. Because even before coming into the space, you already feel that you can't find fulfillment, and you get what you feel. So it starts from understanding that this is what we saw, this is what we were told, but is it really true? How would this mindset that we carry all about change? So I think that I'm the author of this book, and the book brought about the compendium, which is like a training.
Okay.
That is training both the employee and employers on how to change the narrative. It's a narrative. Even my daughter would say, I don't want to work in a 9 to 5. Everybody that is working there, they see it as a passing. It's not a scam. So it starts from understanding that it's not a scam, then getting to know the right things. Like, you need to find out why am I here? How can I be a blessing to this organization? How can the blessing become a blessing to me? So it's a two-way thing. So for me, it's a revolution.
It's a revolution.
Yeah.
9 to 5 is not a scam. I guess you also believe that 9 to 5 is not a scam.
Yeah.
A lot of people believe that you have to do something else.
I'm a living testimony. I worked 9 to 5 for the past 25 years.
Wow.
The reason why people think this is also in an organization is really what even the employers make out of their employees. Because to them it might be, you're here to work. I don't also care about where you will be in future, so everything you're doing is to actually grow my business, right? But what we're talking is having a mindset shift from even an employer to understand that these people are working for you, but you have to think about their future. You have to make them feel that they're working in a place that is their own. From the employee's perspective, is also for an employee to say to themselves, listen, I'm doing this work today, but I need to have a mindset that I am working like I have to work like I own this business, because it's also what you give, the energy you give is what you receive, right?
But what about those who feel that they are giving all the energy and
that's the point. That's the point.
The employers don't care about them.
I agree with
them
you, and that's where the mindset is.
End.
You see, some of us have done this over and over. It doesn't mean that it's why we turned out this way is because if you're not self-motivated, you cannot do 9 to 5.
Right.
Trust me, because you will always have those moments. Is every boss doesn't have your interest at heart, because what they want is the job to be done. So there are always days that you go home and you feel down. But guess what? You have to say to yourself, I need to thrive. I need to grow, regardless of what my environment fits me. Because if you don't do that, your growth pattern is limited. And you are limiting yourself from actually achieving what you want to achieve in life. Because your skills, you have to up it, and you say to yourself, anything I gain on this job, I'm gaining for myself, not for the organism, because you're moving with your skills, right? At the end of the day. If you sit down there and say, because they're not recognizing what I'm doing, I have to stop, you're stopping yourself. And that's the point. Use your environment, use your workplace to actually determine where you will be in life, because that is your mindset you're developing. If you don't give anything to people, if you don't give to an employer, you will never be a boss. So I said to people, work like you're the boss, and you'll be a boss one day.
So I will add to that, because we threw out questions. So we are throwing out questions because we're trying to solve a very major problem globally. I have never seen like 100 people, and I have 10% say they are interested in 9 to 5. Everybody wants to go and start their business, and this is what we are trying to change. And there's a particular topic here that says every tree can become a forest. So I'll give you a scenario. I run, funny enough, I'm not a 9 to 5, so I speak as a boss, but I think that my staffs are my partners. It's a different kind of mindset. So if you think now, you check what I have, how many companies I have, they are handled by my staffs. Yes. So it's a big revolution, because you are a tree as a boss. Allow them to plant their trees. You become a forest as a boss. Yes, that's what it's saying. So you have nothing that you are going to lose empowering your work people to become the bosses on their job. You will only gain. It's a win-win. But the truth is, even us as employers, we also have this mindset that we need them to give us what we want. It's a mindset. It's a mindset shift in both ways. And that is why it's a compendium. It's more than a book.
Right. So you wrote this book because of all of these issues that we have been discussing, right?
Yes.
And you're doing the launch of the compendium in Ghana. So tell us about that. How is all of that going to play out?
So the launch, I'm very excited about the launch, and we're also going to now officially allow people to have this book. People have been calling for the book.
I hope I get to keep this one.
You keep it, but you also still need the workbook.
Yeah.
Because it's not just reading a book. It's becoming a master of the thoughts of this book.
Right.
So the compendium is making you the master, both for the boss and for the employee. So the compendium is like a set of all the issues, from being satisfied, financial literacy. A lot of people burn out because your staffs they don't have money. Why would my staff not have money? No, it's not done. If the staff has the expertise, the qualities, masters the craft, it's my ability to identify that and fuel the passion of that staff and give the staff wings to fly. So the compendium is to teach them how to run your business well, and also teach them how to become bosses at their job.
Right.
Because everybody was created for something. There is nobody that was created to be a slave. We were all created to be masters. So many are not masters because they think there is no need to be a master because I have a master. And that's what she was saying. You will end up not being a master and you are the loser. So as an employee, you need this. because you now understand that you are a tree and you can help your boss to build a forest, and you can also build a forest. So the compendium is Nkechi is going to put it all together, helping them to understand the 14 most important things.
The 14 most important
Yeah,
things.
so we have the classic, like the basic, which is just the book. Then we have the classic, which is the 14 chapters of this book,
Right.
coming with a training manual. Then we have the compendium, which is like the premium for organizations.
Okay.
Where will we all, so like I said, it's a movement.
It's a movement. So with those who would be looking forward to being a part of this, what should be the expectation?
Okay, the good thing with this is an ongoing thing. It's not what we do today and we're stopped. Like
Right.
she said, there are various packages. So you're buying the book is just a one-off thing. So because we are using, in the book, we've used a case study. Alex is my favorite character because he lived the 9 to 5. You're expected to say, I can't allow a boss that doesn't have the kind of mindset that I have to limit my growth, to limit how I thrive in the world. So it's a journey we're taking with you, and that's why we don't want it to be buy the book and go. So the expectation is that we get into the workbook, we get into organizations that really want to transform not just the staff, because you're talking about attrition. Why do you have attrition? We'll help you solve that.
Right.
Because attrition is because you have staff that haven't bought into your vision.
Yeah.
When a vision is bought by your staff and you allow them to live your vision with you and not just live your vision, because when a staff is living your vision with you, you're together. I will create a platform for
Beautiful.
you to be able to launch your dreams. That is you, your dreams. That is you understanding that as I'm working with you for your with your vision, you're also partnering with me with mine.
Right.
And that's what creates a holistic transformation that we want to see.
Right. So
that we want to see.
Right. So I mean, this is all very insightful and this is all very inspiring. So who can be a part, of this movement? Who can be a part of it? Even at the launch that is coming up.
Not just a staff, you become like a co-founder, because Alice here became a co-founder. This is not frictions. This happened in my establishments. This happened in my establishments. My staffs are all my co-founders. My staffs are all my co-founders. They are experts. I love financial literacy. I'm all about wealth creation. I have a media company. Wealth creation. I have a media company. The young man was actually my cameraman, and before you know, he knew that I was accessible. Why can't we have a media company? And then let's deal. What's your percentage? No, we need to change this thing.
Right.
Yeah. So anybody that is alive that wants more from your 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, what do you call it? In Nigeria, we are from Nigeria. We call it 9 to 5 in Ghana.
We
are in Ghana. Why? Because Ghana is so receptive. They want it. They've reached out to us and say, let's do this in Ghana.
Right.
Then bosses that say, let's do this in Ghana.
Right.
Then bosses that want the best from their staffs to represent them and become their brand ambassador. That's what you're trying to say. I want to be their brand ambassador of my company. So if GH today or whatever GHOne.
This is GHOne TV. This is GH today.
Yeah.
So GH today.
Yeah. So if I am in the show or I work here, I want to be the brand ambassador. I want to be the celebrity. I want to carry it like my life depends on it. So it's to us from our ancestors that our staffs are just there to play the work game. No, it's time to change.
Okay.
Do you know the people I want to see here? I even want to see the public service. A lot needs to be changed in our public service, and I'm so excited for us to take this to that doorstep, because it is an area that we need a lot of efficiency. We need a lot of mindset in re-engineering. I said, how you embrace the fact and be proud that you're a civil servant, and then achieve so much sitting there as a civil servant. Because we say private sector thrives.
Yeah.
Why won't we thrive in
But the public sector also has to thrive, right?
Exactly.
For the country to thrive eventually. So,
Yeah.
so everyone is invited, right?
Yeah, please, everybody.
So let's deal with the details of when the launch is happening, the time it's happening, where it's happening, and everything in between.
Okay, yeah. We strategically, because when you ask where who will attend, I'm an ex-banker, so I love my banks, and I had to take this.
Take it to them.
I love you guys. I had to take this to the National Banking College because it's an academic environment,
right?
And this is what we want to bring to. So it's happening in National Banking College, and at 10 a.m. on Friday.
Friday, 10 a.m.
Yeah, 7th
National
of
Banking
February.
College.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Right. Friday, the 7th of February.
7th of February.
At the National Banking College.
Yes, at 10 a.m.
At 10 a.m.
Yes, please.
And everybody's invited.
So also,
you are invited. I need you guys on board.
The compendium 9 to 5 is not a scam. Trainings will begin for the Ghana edition on the 28th of February. So we'll begin the trainings.
All right.
And if you have questions, you can just send to the website or your website, or come to the program and ask us. We have a lot of facilitators that are willing and ready to answer your questions.
Jump on board.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, ladies, for joining us in the studio and helping us understand that 9 to 5
it's not a scam.
It's not a scam. So,
I hope
so let's be a part of it.
We convinced you.
Yeah.
I hope we're able to.
Oh yes, I'm beginning to have a different perspective.
So what we need in Africa.
So there's a mindset change that is
what we
happening,
really
right?
need in Africa is a
So
mindset.
that's why I think it's more important for a lot of people, those of you out there who are watching right now, to be a part of this. So like was said, at the National Banking College, which is at the airport residential area, at 10 a.m. That's on Friday, the 7th of February. So make sure that you are there. Nkechi will be a speaker, and of course the author of the book herself is going to be there as well, and she's going to be speaking to you. So there's a lot that is going to be happening, and you have to be a part of it. So once again, like I said, ladies, I'm grateful.
Thank you so
that
much
you joined
for
us
having
here
us
in the studio for this. We'll have to be doing a few birthday wishes, and we'll be wrapping up the show. But before we do that as well, do remember that we've got a duvet experience coming up, and I'll be telling you about the